Sierra, don't be a butt. No, you can't get under the desk. No. Bad kitty. So, yes, as you... It's very hot, and I don't want, like... Ah! 1 second! She just knocked everything off my desk! Sierra! Uh, okay. I'm here. It's hot. So we're just gonna... Cat, can you be good for once, please? Go that way. Go. Little one. Oh boy. It's very hot. Sierra, no. And I don't want to like play anything too intensive on my PC until I actually get the air conditioner. Sierra. So yeah, we're just gonna vibe today. We're gonna work on some emotes. I don't know if you guys want to watch or listen to anything specific. We are open to whatever. So yeah, we're open. We're not open to kitties. Ah, cat. Sierra. I told you can't go under there. Cat. Stop being a butt. The cat being a butt is what's going on. It is too hot. And Sierra wants to go with the PC where it's very warm. And it's like, no, kitty. I don't want you to get heat stroke.
You'll just keep making that sound? Really? Till Daddy's head
Go in the other room
explodes?
where it's nice and cool. Where I wish I could be. Because, oh my goodness gracious, it is so... Thurston screaming is what sums me up right now so much. So yeah, we're working on emotes. Because I can't work on the other art project that I'm currently working on. Because that's secret. What's the temp there in Celsius? It is 15. Sierra, I can see you being sneaky by climbing behind the TV, thinking you can sneak behind me. You can't. I've blocked all your ways. It's too hot. It's 32 there. Look, I don't handle the heat well at all. Sierra. Oh my god, this cat. Why? So yeah, we're gonna have like a short stream today, so I don't melt. Hopefully my audio is okay, because it sounds somewhat okay in my headphones. Look at here, cat. Don't be a butt. Is there not background music? Or is that not loud enough again? What I was going to suggest we do is we can watch some videos while I do some artwork. And this cat! Stop going under the computer! I don't want you to overheat. I am already concerned for your health. Oh. What video on your mind? I don't know. Like, I don't have anything specific, so that's what I've been spending the last half hour trying to find a video, but I couldn't. So I'm just like, well, let's find something. Ah, what is it?
Hi, Boomer.
Ugh.
Hello.
Oh, I've seen a. Like, I'm gonna say, like, I'd prefer a furry outfit if he was wearing one. Because at least they're nice looking. I mean, that's a perfect name for that dog, is Boomer. Mm. Oh. I'm trying to hope that the cat is not being a turd. I just hear her making noises, and I do not know if it's in this room or the other room. Like, why? Kitty, why? Oh, we can watch Brain Blaze. That's what we can do. Because I have told you all about the lovely Simon Whistler, but none of you have actually watched him. Probably. Brain Blaze. Oh, what's that? You know where all my little sound bites come from?
Allegedly.
My allegedly. Oh, does that allegedly even work?
Oh god, this is gonna get depressing, isn't it?
Did you hear that? Because I can't. Hopefully you can hear those sound bites. Hello! Martle! Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, Simon is... Hello? Is there something you want me to call you in particular? Or... is that... Brain is not fully working. It is too hot. And the medication I'm on, I'm not supposed to be out in the sun because of the heat. But yet, it's like, oh yeah, it's 15 degrees outside plus however much my computer is. We need some good Brain Blaze episodes. I don't know. The pipe! The pipe! We need some good ones, not one from like 4 years ago. What do you mean, what's a Tumblr? That used to be a website. It used to be where all the smut used to hang out. Until, I think, what? It was Yahoo that bought it? I think. I don't know. I feel old. You don't feel old. Look. Unless you know what a VHS is, don't feel old. Oh, I'm sorry. I rephrased that. Unless you know how to work a VHS player, then don't worry. You're not old. Want me to ask you because you might have more experience. Please explain what Tumblr is. It's where all the fandoms were at one point. It's where all the down bad people went to show off their love or whatever. Mostly furries. A lot of furries there. But yes, a lot of smut and porn. The back, kind of like LinkedIn. No, It was the complete opposite. I think you don't really get like adult photos anymore on Twitter. Furries are rich, not gonna lie. They are rich. Like gosh. Like good gracious. Oh, that's where Twitter users originally resided until they banned the naughty. Yeah. Until like what? Like YouTube, Yahoo, I think, was like, yeah, we're not gonna change anything once we buy it. Yes, they did. Ooh. Most disastrous examples of unintended consequences? Have you seen how much a costume of those costs? Yes, the good ones cost a decent amount. Because do you know how much fabric is? It's... Oy. You can't identify one if you're poor. You can, you just don't get the pretty outfits. There are 4chan's original enemies. I was around when 4chan was like really big, but I was never really on it. I might have been a little bit too young. I don't know. I was like right in that sweet spot. How much they pay for NSFW furry art is wild. It is. I actually have a... this was after I dated them, but my ex turned out to be a furry, and it's like, oh, okay. You can make them out of technically anything. I mean, you can. There's also a statement that you're not gay if you're not using an iPhone from gay community. Wait, what? That's so weird. I've never heard that before. I don't have a furry stash. I'm not a furry. I'm not a... I mean, I have nothing against furries. Furries are nice. I think it's more the iPhone community. Probably. iPhone people are like kind of elitist. But that's just... something I've noticed. No, I'm not a furry. I mean... I was gonna say, I'm not a furry. I was gonna say, technically I could be a furry, but no, I'm not. I'm just a cat girl. There's a difference. I is human with cat ears, and not a cat with human ears, like the cursed photo. Dude, I need some good Brain Blaze videos. People have to pay more because artists enjoy drawing furries less, since, you know... Why'd you bring that image to my head? I brought that image to my head because Akiru had that one image for his profile photo for the longest time. And it's cursed. Yes, I'm throwing you under the bus. Dude, can I have like some good videos that I've watched with Ryu so I know they're okay? Already, I think this one's okay. Yay, head pets! I love head pets. He always has a cursed image. It's trademarked. I mean, yeah, he sort of does. I'm not gonna lie. Already, window capture. No, that's not. I need another window capture. I'm a lurk for something. Alrighty, you enjoy lurking. You have a good time doing whatever you are doing. Well, I find... There we go. Use lurk. Yeah, so you can walk your goldfish. Have fun working. Okay, there we are. How are we gonna do this? No. One moment. You had a goldfish? I think everyone, had a goldfish at some point. Oh, your turtle ate it? Oh, I'm so sorry. I used to have like a ton of goldfish. I would overfeed them and they'd just die from being overfed. Made me sad. Let's lock that. Do they taste like goldfish biscuits? Goldfish are pretty bad at not dying. They're like hamsters. Look, I've had a friend who had hamsters and they lived. One second. Where is Mirror? Mirror. So a lot of Brain Blaze is just pretty much a podcast. So we don't... Do you want the art in bigger view than Simon, or just it plopped right here? Is that the same video you sent earlier? If so, have fun. No, I can't read chat. Dang it. I can't see my screen. Gosh dang it. This is what I get for being late. Hello, Preston. Welcome. Use your phone to read. There's too much. I don't need that. Congratulations. Thanks. Like, I literally just need Twitch open so I can see any of the redeems that happen. That's all. That's the only reason I need Twitch open. Otherwise, that's okay. You made cake? I love cake. Man. Cake is fantastic. Alrighty. Here we go. Yay, did the daily emojis. So yeah, if you want, if at any point you want Simon to be smaller or artwork to be bigger or the other way around, let me know. 2 years and 17 hours. Congratulations. I don't know.
Everybody loves video games. While there is still a bit of stigma that video games predominantly appeal to males,
okay?
particularly kids, this is far from the truth. Even if it's just the occasional game of Angry Birds or Candy Crush on your phone, everyone enjoys a good video game. Yeah, I feel like video games are welcome to the show.
Is this too loud?
Simon,
is Simon too loud?
Script. I've not read it before. That's the format. I feel like games went from like the realm of teenage boys to middle-aged mothers with the advent of Candy Crush.
It's the history guy? Yes, Simon has like
all I see is middle-aged women playing Candy
Crush. A ton of channels.
Like other phone games. It's normally the young boys.
It's the Simon Whistler cinematic universe.
Phone games. But sometimes people can take games entirely too seriously. I briefly played World of Warcraft, and the only way to complete end-game content in World of Warcraft is to join a guild.
Alright, thumbs up. Ready, guys?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, he just ran
I feel old.
Leroy, you were just stupid as hell.
He's balding, so he just shaved his head.
I have no idea what that means. These are Vessies. They are the king of shoes. They are
okay,
the
Simon, as much as I love you, I don't need to buy more Vessies.
Absolutely buy yourself a pair.
Excuse me.
As well. So
I've never actually played World of Warcraft.
You get that 15% off. Thanks to Vessi for sponsoring. And now back to today's video. The bosses are extremely difficult, requiring dozens of players working with perfect coordination in order to win. My guild was relatively casual, so we only raided for 4 hours on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. God damn, 8 hours a week is casual?
I like my Vans, thank you. I like Vessies because, again, they're waterproof.
What the hell are we going to do on those nights? It's not like we were all skipping those raging Tuesday night keggers.
They're good for the winter time, so I don't have to wear boots.
More casual players, attendance was rarely an issue. The raids required 25 people and we could count on everyone to show up. However, there was one week we thought we were going to have to cancel because our healer's baby was due. Jesus. People, if he turns up to the game and is like, hey,
people like a lot of
I can do it.
money.
Why?
I mean,
So,
time and
well,
money
my wife's
into
giving
World of
birth. She's in there
Warcraft.
right now. I'm in the lobby playing.
What the?
Gotta love his
I
coke.
remember I was buying a property.
Try wearing them in
Real
38
estate
degrees.
agents Really like
Look,
pressury.
In
Are you guys
Florida, when
talking
it was like
about
100 and
West Side?
something,
Cookie,
I
I'm
was
scared
wearing a
of you.
sweater.
Like pressury. I'm a hard negotiator. Like I'll just like lowball the shit out of something, and then just be like, no, don't want it. And she's like hassling me to close on this deal. And we've got to a figure. Like I've got to a figure, and she's like not meeting my figure, but she's like calling me up while my wife's giving birth, and I'm like, yo, lady, Prof, my wife's giving birth right now, and she's like, yeah, but we really need to talk about this, and I'm like, you do, I don't. I got my deal. She came to my number, or I came a little bit over my number to like meet her in the middle, which was like my number, basically. She went into labor on late Tuesday morning, but due to our surprise, she logged on to raid with us that night.
Wait.
For some reason, oh my god, I'm such like a
Okay,
boys
maybe
play
we'll
video
just-
games, because I'm like, yeah, no, it must be his wife. It's actually she's giving birth and she's doing it. But to our surprise, she logged on to raid with us that night. The placenta wasn't even cold yet, but she was ready
Maybe
to take down
I talk online, I get called
Sindragoza
someone from the
and
south.
Lich King from a hospital bed.
Is it like
That's
your
an entirely
accent?
unnecessary
I
level of
love the
dedication,
southern
especially
accents.
since there wasn't really anything on the line. And to be fair, unless you play competitive esports, there's never anything actually on the line. League of Legends players can sign contracts
That
for
is
hundreds
true.
of thousands or even millions of dollars, plus cash prizes if their team performs well. But that's not really the norm. No, it's definitely not the norm. But that's like playing, oh yeah, I like to play hoops. It's definitely not the norm to be in the NBA. NBA? I always get confused. There's MLB? Baseball?
What?
I hope I got those the right way around. I dare say most professional gamers make their money
Like
through
Indian
Twitch
Chinese
subs,
accent
donations,
for
and if
fun.
they're lucky,
Playing
sponsorship
MOBA.
deals. Even if you set a world record in video games, nobody actually cares. Mario streamer Grams Pooh Bear has set numerous world records and is very vocal
it
about
Grand
the fact that
Pooh
they're
Bear?
actually
Oh, it is
meaningless.
Grand Pooh
Even
Bear.
his wife couldn't pretend to care, responding to his excitement about setting a new world record with, "That's nice. Any thoughts on dinner tonight? Hell, you might even wind up being mocked on the evening news."
That's
as one
how
child found out.
Ryu
Blue
acts
Scooter,
whenever I
13
say,
year
like,
old kid,
"Ooh,
became the first person
this
ever to
milestone
beat
happened.
Tetris
Oh,
on
that's
the
nice,
NES.
dear.
For 35 years,
What do you
it
want
was
for
assumed
food?
that it was physically impossible for a human to do this, but Scooty pulled it off. Says something about me that I totally watched a long video on YouTube about this. I like Tetris.
Wonder if
I'm
Simon
like,
has a dent on his head.
I haven't
No,
played
he
it
does
in a
not.
long time, but it used to be like I found it very meditative. I like finding things that are meditative, but I can't meditate because my mind is just like way too busy. But I find things to like do that are meditative, like playing Tetris. Just playing Tetris. Now I'm into Legos. I make lots of Legos. While reporting on the news, a news anchor went viral.
No,
for going
gamer
off script
dent.
and telling
Oh,
the kid that beating Tetris should not be a life goal. and
no.
he needs to go outside.
Step away from the screen, go outside.
Simon's not really a
get some
gamer.
fresh air.
Beating Tetris is not a life goal.
Let me pause this for a second. I don't know if he actually talked about this. Is that the whole idea about Brain Blaze is that he has writers write a script and it's a cold read. So he's reading the script at the same time. He's reading the script for the first time as he's recording it. So it's the first time for us as well. So that leads to all sort of fun and interesting things. Learn everything from him. Yeah, so do I. I like the Casual
Allegedly.
Criminalist.
Yes, allegedly.
Does he have a soft spot still exposed?
No.
I forget actually how I found Simon. I think it was through something.
Class.
But yeah, I do like
But
the cold
if there
reading.
is
It's very
generally
interesting.
Very little money or fame up for grabs.
Cold reading, cold reading a script is reading the script for the very first time. So he pays his writers. He talks about with his writers like what he wants the script for. Sometimes the writer will just throw out an idea. They send him a script, and then he'll record. Like he'll read it for the first time while he's recording. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Soft spot. Oh, soft spots. I think like babies, because the baby's skull isn't fully fused, so they have a few soft spots in them. So that's why like you shouldn't drop your baby on their head.
Why would people cheat at video games? Other than because there are others, I don't really have an answer for that, and yet it happens all the time. So let's look at some of the most ridiculous cheaters throughout video game history. Kevin, this intro is 5 minutes. Achieving the very literally impossible. There is no name more synonymous with video game cheating than Todd Rogers.
Rogers?
Todd Rogers, the famous video game cheat. Never heard of him.
Middle of the top.
I'm super casually into video games. Like, I
mean, a
enjoy
person's
video
head
games.
is
I
not
used to play
fully
many video
round, you know.
games.
There's bumps
But
and lumps.
Now I have like loads of work, family, kids. I got excited last week. I was like, my family, my wife and my kids. She's going to her parents for the weekends, and I'm there like Saturday night, and I'm like, I'm gonna play Xbox for like the first time in months. I'm like, yes. And then for some reason the Xbox doesn't connect to my TV, and I'm like, the cables are plugged in.
I had that happen before.
It just didn't work, and I was like, oh. So I just watched a movie. It was fine. It began not back in 1982 when a 15-year-old Roger sent a Polaroid videos were not a thing, to Video Game
What the fuck is
Player
a Polaroid
magazine.
video?
The magazine published
I don't think
high
that's-
scores in various games using only photos as verification, and among those games was Dragster for the
Not the
Atari
Red Red
600. I played a lot of Atari as a kid until we finally got a Nintendo, and I'm confident in saying that of all the Atari games ever produced, Dragster was one of them.
I don't think
And
my
the game
Xbox has
is
ever had the
exactly
red
what it
ring.
sounds like. The player controls a dragster, shifting gears and trying to get to the finish line as fast as possible.
Which I'm thankful for, and I had like an original Xbox 360. Oh, that's not. Uh-oh.
It's all the fun of real drag
Oh,
racing,
that's
except without the crowd, the excitement, or the scent of nitromethane burning your eyes.
I lost all my data 'cause of the red ring.
Seems to be a positive
No!
experience as well.
That is like
And
the
just
worst.
real drag racing or teenage sex. The whole thing is over in less than 10 seconds. I was wondering where you were going with that one, Kevster. In the April 1982 edition of Video Game Player magazine, a Roger score of 5.51 seconds in Dragster was published. It's unknown whether he doctored the photo or if it was just a Polaroid of a blurry TV in the magazine. I read the time wrong, but this impossible score was published, so Rogers rolled with it. And when I say impossible, I mean literally impossible.
Is
The
there a way
code
to
for the
hop
game
by
has
a
been
red ring?
decompiled and analyzed, and the
I thought it was just
fastest
completely
possible score was
random.
5.57 seconds. But reality didn't matter. What mattered is that the score was accepted by Twin Galaxies, an arcade founded in Iowa by Walter Day in 1981. For decades, Twin Galaxies was the authority on video game and pinball high scores, so whatever they said was considered fact. Any scores published in the Guinness Book of World Records, including this one, came directly from Twin Galaxies. And since he had one fake score that earned him $0
I should probably change my
clout,
category.
Rogers wanted more. He named himself King of Video Games, a title nobody else called him, and described himself rather inaccurately as the world's first professional video game player. Rogers then became friends with the
Oh my god, I
Twin
realized I
Galaxies and
didn't change the
eventually
Go
became
Live
one of the
notification.
judges.
I
The rules for
apologize.
scores became more strict, with verification generally requiring that a score had to be performed
We're
in
going to
person
ignore
with
the
a
fact
judge
that that
present.
happened.
Only sanctioned judges were allowed to post new high scores to Twin Galaxies' official website, but there was nothing in place to stop Rogers from updating the site with his own new high scores. He did this constantly, and the scores were absolutely insane.
You sit on a
They're-
lies.
Rogers
Yes.
was recorded as having a high score of
Yeah, it's still just shouting.
1,688 points in the Atari game Wabbit. This was impressive not only because the game ended when you got to 1,300 points, but also because the score could only increase in increments of 5. He was also listed as having a record-breaking score of 65 million points in Centipede, an impressive feat seeing as the second place score was a mere 58,078.
Yeah, that's fine. Or
These
just shouting
scores
pot art.
were all
yeah,
ridiculous
I mean,
and impossible,
you can say
and
they are
everyone knew
category.
Rogers was a joke, but in 2012, when
Sort
Guinness
of.
presented him with an award for having the longest-standing video game record, 30 years for the Dragster one, people had finally had enough.
I
Gamers
fucked up
proved
with the
beyond a
live
shadow of a doubt that
notification, though.
Rogers had been cheating for decades, presenting all their findings to Twin Galaxies. They were given no choice but to remove all of Rogers' scores, ban him entirely, and inform Guinness, who stripped Rogers of all his titles. Oh my god, it's like, who gives a dude? Although he did seem to build a 30-year
Oh,
career
the
out of
fuck?
this, so I guess well done.
I forgot my
Florida
butterfly
Man now,
again.
Player of the century. For Christmas last year, one of my gifts from my brother was 2 bottles
Hello,
of Ricky's
patron, welcome.
world-famous Louisiana hot sauce. The name sounded familiar, but I couldn't quite place my finger on it.
I'm
Nor was I
finally
sure I
blessing
was
you
getting
all
hot
with the
sauce for
gorgeous
Christmas.
Simon
People buy me hot
Whistler.
sauce for Christmas. I love hot sauce. That's when he told me that this brand was manufactured by none other than Billy Mitchell. I've heard of Billy Mitchell. I saw a documentary about, I can't remember what it was called. I'm sure Kevin's about to tell me, but it was like about people beating. It wasn't Tetris.
Supposed to be.
Oh,
10?
was it Pac-Man? I
Maybe
think it
it
might
was
have been
supposed to be 10.
Pac-Man.
Honestly, best
If
game I
you've seen
played
the
in
movie King of
Explosions
Kong,
and Just
then
Cause
the
3.
name
I
Billy
love
Mitchell
Just Cause
probably
3.
sounds familiar. He was quite probably the best and most famous gamer of the retro era, and unlike his good friend Todd Rogers, who was nothing but a ridiculous fraud, Mitchell had the goods. In 1982, Life magazine ran a piece on arcade games for some reason,
is just-
and it included a photo shoot with several prominent players. Among them,
I'm
Billy Mitchell
not
and
bald.
Steve Sanders, the latter having the then current alleged Donkey Kong high score
I'm
of 1.4 million
happy
points.
for my
Other photo
hair,
shoots, the two competed
what
in
little
Donkey
hair
Kong,
I
and
have.
Mitchell
My hair's really thin.
destroyed
I'm jealous of
Sanders.
Ryu.
His score of 874,300 points not only far surpassed what Sanders could
Your hair
achieve
is so
that
much
day,
nicer
but
than
Mitchell
mine.
showed that Sanders didn't even know that Donkey Kong had a kill screen.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Oh my
Kill screens
god,
exist in a
really?
lot of retro games because they were intended never to end.
How about mine? You
Each
have
level was
amazing
supposed
hair.
to get slightly harder than the last.
I just have
until
very
it became
thin hair.
impossible, forcing people to throw quarter after quarter into the machines to try and beat those levels. God damn, that's some business big brain stuff right there. However, because there's no actual end to the games, they all inevitably break because of coding limitations. Because the levels get harder in Donkey Kong, the developers decided
fuck
to
do
also
I
give
do a
players 10
collar?
extra seconds of each level to complete it. That works out great for the first 21 levels, but in level 22, the player
I'm
would
awake.
start with 260 seconds. Since 8-bit numbers only go up to 256, it just rolls over and gives the player 4 seconds, making level
It's
22
alright.
the impossible kill screen. Sanders knew none of this, and Mitchell outed him
We
as a
all need
fraud,
our
which
world
was 800,000
flipped
plus
around
score
once in a
became the
while.
official world record for the next 18 years, and he spent a few years after this using his skills and knowledge to catch people trying to submit fake scores, as ironic as that would soon become. Oh no, Billy Mitchell, no! He then took a break from gaming for about 10 years, working at and eventually taking over the family restaurant in Florida, selling hot wings. It is a career change, isn't it? It wasn't until 1999 that Mitchell returned thanks to Pac-Man. In 1982, an 8-year-old boy somehow made national news by claiming to get a score of 6 million points at Pac-Man. The kid even got a congratulatory letter from President Reagan. This must have been 1989. 1982. 1982. Sorry, it wasn't until 1999 Mitchell returned. I got
gonna
confused.
say,
I thought
thank you.
Kevin maybe made a mistake. He didn't. I'm an idiot. Apologies. Determined to prove that this 8-year-old kid was just a cloud-chasing asshole, Mitchell and a friend broke down Pac-Man's theoretical high score. Because of a similar issue involving 8-bit numbers, level 256 was the game's kill screen. Mitchell
I hate
worked
collars,
out
they
back in
suck.
1983
I say that in my
the game had a theoretical
collar.
perfect score of 3,333,360, but no one had achieved it. In 1999,
Look, we're all
gonna
gonna be grandpas at some age.
Close, so Mitchell had to return to gaming to do it first. And he did. On July the 3rd, 1999, in front of tons of witnesses at Fun Spot in New Hampshire, Mitchell played the world's first perfect game of Pac-Man. Twin Galaxies named him Video Game Player of the Century, and he got to fly out to Tokyo to meet Pac-Man and receive an award from the game's producer Namco, congratulating him on the world's first perfect game. Like I said before, Mitchell really had the skills, which makes what happens next so disappointing. During the filming of King of Kong, Steve Weber set a new high
I
score of
don't like that.
985,000 and change live at Fun Spot. Just hours later, Mitchell walked in carrying a VHS tape recording of his first run of the world's first ever 1 million point game. The
Yes,
score
that's
was
close enough.
accepted immediately, despite the video not
Anyway, how's it
having proof
go?
of
It's
being
been a 5
played
minutes since I
on
caught a stream.
unmodified
I've been
hardware.
good.
He then allegedly set another record at a mortgage broker's convention.
my capture
because
card is
why not?
working
Another at
again.
Boomer's Arcade in Florida.
I'm not dying anymore.
Does sound
Coughing every
appropriate.
single breath.
Despite allegedly taking place in public, there do not appear to be witnesses to these runs. However, Twin Galaxies had very strict. and
I'm
sometimes
glaring
archaic
at you,
rules.
Akiru, with
Cheating
the
obviously wasn't allowed, but games
VHS.
had to be played on original hardware. However, watching Mitchell's tapes frame by frame allegedly showed that the levels loaded very awkwardly. The screen appeared to load. The
Oh, I
way
think I
it
said I'm
does
not
when
doing a 2-year
using the
anniversary
arcade
stream.
emulator
I'm
MAME rather
this
than
month,
how it
I'm
does
doing
in
it,
genuine arcade hardware.
for my
People
affiliate
first
stream
took
next
an
month.
interest in this because expert analysis allegedly showed that Mitchell was suspiciously
Well, you
lucky.
have to say
He scored
allegedly,
extra points
otherwise
by
you're
breaking
open
and
up
jumping
to
over barrels in Donkey Kong, but their movement is random. Mitchell seemed to be scoring
Lawsuits?
points at a statistically improbable rate, which is what led to so much interest and speculation. And this sort of luck is one of the things that can be controlled on an emulator. It certainly didn't help that Mitchell's mortgage broker and Boomer scores were both verified by none other than Todd Rogers. I guess it's good.
Not
for
grandpa
places,
if I-
places,
if I
in
never have
this
kids.
case, places
Look.
of arbitrary and meaningless authority. It was disappointing that someone
You're
who
old to
genuinely had
someone.
incredible skill and even fought against cheating allegedly seems to have taken the easy way out.
Capture
what
card
some
pug,
people
yes.
might interpret as a desperate attempt to cling to his former, largely
We were going to
irrelevant
play
glory.
Yakuza
And if you're
today,
wondering
but
why
it's
there was a
too
healthy
hot.
dose of
I'm
allegedly
dying of
regarding
heat.
Mitchell's alleged use of MAME, it's because he is hilariously litigious. Allegedly. Even though, in my personal opinion, as someone who is way too
I'm older
interested in
than
the
20,
intricacies
then.
of gaming and programming, Mitchell used
my
the
little-
name beyond a shadow of a doubt,
I'm
but he
dying.
continues to deny these claims. And that, of course, is Kevin's opinion. Just his opinion. That's it. He sued Twin Galaxies for removing his scores. He sued multiple YouTubers for covering the story.
What?
Yeah, oh. And he sued Cartoon Network because a show did a ridiculous cartoon parody of him. Of course, he hasn't won any
I
lawsuits.
feel like
The Cartoon Network suit
anything-
was thrown
look,
out.
I
Two
thought
of the others were settled.
30
and one
was
is still
old.
going on because Australian
And
law
40
won't let Mitchell drop the charges
when I was
without paying
younger.
the YouTuber's entire
It's great.
six-figure legal bill. And the day after the settlement with Twin Galaxies, in which they received very favorable terms, their
I definitely
website
don't play
began
that
selling
now.
T-shirts and mugs with
Especially
side-by-side
'cause-
images of the arcade and the emulated screens for Donkey Kong as a giant you to the alleged cheater. I can't sadly get into all the intricacies of how hilariously fucked up the whole situation is, like how
I discovered
YouTuber
I'm
Apollo
old when I
legend
first
wore a
encountered
Billy
that
Mitchell
Skippy Toilet got
cosplay
over
to
100
legends
million
until you get
views
close enough to
in the
man
span
to
of
see
one
if you
day.
record a conversation with him. But to
I
Mitchell's
just
credit,
discovered that
I will
fact
say
right
this,
now.
that crazy
I was
bastard
happy
does
that
make some
I
good
just
hot
found
sauce,
out
an
about
alleged
Skippy Toilet
crazy
a
bastard.
few months ago.
I'd like to try his hot sauce though. Cheating for charity.
So, yeah. Why you cheat for
Twice a
charity?
year, the organization Games Done Quick does two huge events. Awesome Games Done Quick in the winter and Summer Games Done Quick. Each event runs non-stop for 1
Done
week
quick.
with speedrunners from every game
Rico is
genre showing off their
no.
talents around the clock, all in the name of charity. AGDQ raises money for the Prevent Cancer Foundation and SGDQ raises money for Doctors Without Borders. Because these are live marathons.
Oh, my
where
necklace
anything
is a
that can
lot
go
lower
wrong
on my
will,
neck
it's
than I
rare for
thought.
anybody to set a world record at AGDQ events.
Shows you
Not that
how
they're
much I
really
pay
trying.
attention.
It's about showing off the games, having a good time, and hopefully not things up too much. And sometimes it's more fun when things do go wrong. There was a run of some Animorphs game one year that was supposed to be about 20 minutes long. Animorphs are books, right? My sister loved the Animorphs when we were kids. Due to comically terrible luck, the runner wasn't even able to beat the first level before time ran out, but I'm
Don't
pretty
we
sure
love that
everybody
when
enjoyed
things
the
go
failed run
wrong?
more than if things had gone as expected. GDQ started out as a small event run in some dude's basement, and it grew into a huge in-person event that required everyone to play on original hardware, making cheating impossible. Then, COVID happened, and the event switched to have the speedrunners play remotely. It was no less successful, and it even opened up the opportunity for lots of people to take part who otherwise wouldn't have been able
I don't
to
have gray
travel
hairs.
to the
I'm
venue
not
to
30
speedrun their
yet.
games. It has since moved to being a mix of in-person and
Which is
remote.
sad.
Given that this whole thing is a casual event for charity,
But I know
designed to be
nothing
as
about
entertaining
the
as possible, you'd think
young'uns
it would be
with
safe
the
to
youth.
assume that letting people play remotely wouldn't be an issue. Nah, man, cheaters gonna cheat. It's not like anybody was going to cheat, right?
Yeah, like, why
Well,
the
nobody
fuck
except
for charity?
Mecharazium, a Russian speedrunner who played through Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid. Speaking of Metal Gear,
A Russian speedrunner who played through Metal Gear Solid Revengeance at SGDQ.
let me pause this quickly. I wish I rode a rocket. Metal Gear Solid, my playthrough with Ryu is going to start, I think it's going to be next weekend, maybe, if not the following weekend. Or maybe the weekend after. I get to double check. But it's coming soon. I think we're going to do it every... I forget. Wait. I think we're doing it... It's either Saturday or Sunday. It's one of those 2 days. And then it's going to be like another day during the week. Which Metal Gear? It's going to be all the Metal Gear Solids. Because he owns them all. Which, oh boy, so much
The
fun.
initial run went as expected. Your name. Mecharazium is a top-tier player, so his final time of 57 minutes was just 4 minutes behind the world
But, like,
record,
why
which is totally
would
normal.
you
Unless
cheat
you're playing
for charity?
Animorphs, the most important thing at a marathon like this is to actually
Excuse me,
beat
cheat for
the game.
charity.
As such, speedrunners will deliberately use slower, marathon-safe strategies to keep the show running
Like,
smoothly. However, after completing the game,
sense.
Mecharazium was then scheduled to play the Blade Wolf DLC downloadable content. Because the DLC was much shorter, he declared he wasn't going to go for any safety strategies. After disabling his video feed for a minute or so, Mecharazium proceeded to play a video he had made rather than actually playing the game
What's
live.
that?
Not only
Oh, that
the
noise?
video
Oh, a
was a
notification that
spliced
popped up.
video. This meant he played through multiple times and spliced together his fastest attempts of each section to create a world record speedrun of 6 minutes and 55 seconds.
My friend said that he was the guy from
It's
Fortnite.
weird and
Oh,
thing
God.
to do. But the weirdest part was after his video had finished,
That makes me so sad.
went on a bizarre 5-minute
Okay.
monologue about what he felt was the proper way to care about speed running and how
I
the entire
really
community
want
had been
to
doing it
do
wrong.
the
Focused only
how do you
on the
do
top
fellow
lines and the
kids
leaderboards rather than giving proper attention to the people breaking down
animation,
code
but
and
I'm like, that is
finding
too
the
much
fastest routes
for
and
just
strategies,
one time
something
thing.
Macaroseum
So it's
or
gonna be
whatever had happened to specialize in. It was this bizarre
something I do in
self-indulgent
3D,
pile of
which I'm super
nonsense that
excited
went
about.
far too long and ended with him saying, "You won't be seeing me again." I think some people just want to see the world burn. There will be more godless nights. Edgelord, man. Kevin literally wrote the same thing. He said, "Whatever you say, Edgelord." Edgelord. The next day, he announced that he had cheated during his run, and he was rightfully banned from appearing at future events. On the bright side, it raised $3 million for charity, so those doctors can finally afford the borders they so desperately need. Oh, that's a good joke. I like that. Blind ambition. Our final subject just gained notoriety as a ridiculous cheater in February of this year, 2024. But apparently,
What? 2024?
she's been pulling this for years. Queen Pawns a Lot. What did you say? Describes herself as a variety streamer.
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
currently verify that since she's taken down all of her YouTube videos and Twitch VODs, except for half a dozen clips or so, all of which are from Monster Hunter World. But that's fine because Monster Hunter is the game that we're talking about today. Queen Pawns a Lot is a skilled Monster Hunter player who specializes in fighting the dragon Alatreon. Wow, we live in a weird world, don't we? This is something people can specialize in and make a career out of, fighting a dragon in a game. The dragon's called Alatreon. I'm a f***ing boomer. Oddly enough,
Don't worry,
I
Simon,
never
I'm with
actually
you.
Played Monster Hunter, but as I
I
understand,
don't understand
the fight
most
is
things about this
incredibly
video. It's
difficult and
okay.
one of the most hated in the game. Pawns-a-Lot has killed the dragon over 4,000 times and claimed she decided on a whim to do the fight blindfolded during one of her Twitch streams. And while I may not know Monster Hunter, I do
That's
know
alright, I don't know
blindfolded
most
gaming.
of it.
No matter how good you are at a game, you can't just put on a blindfold and assume muscle memory is going to carry you to victory. It's a completely different set of skills
That is
requiring
true.
immense amounts of routing and planning. Wait, this is actually a thing?
Yes.
All
I
right.
know
There's
who.
heavy reliance on audio
let me
cues and highly
solo
skilled
her?
Players can use something called beat counting.
No,
time their
I don't think-
actions
I don't
based
think he
on
knows
what
that.
beat the background music. The game is based
Oh.
on what beat the background music in the game is on. It takes a lot of work and memorization and can't just be done on a whim. You can test this yourself by putting on a blindfold and attempting to do literally anything in a game or otherwise and seeing how spectacular.
One second,
you
I'm
fail.
talking to
Dave
Ryu.
is exempt from this challenge because that would be cheating. Dave's another one of the writers who is blind. The popular streamer and YouTuber Asmongold didn't know any of that, which is exactly what Queen Pawns-a-Lot was counting on. Why? I've heard of Asmongold. He must be mega famous because I've been on Twitch like once. Pawns-a-Lot, she had one of her moderators post the clip of her blindfolded fight to Asmongold's Reddit and told her chat to spam it with upvotes so that they'd watch it on stream. The plan worked, and when Asmongold watched the video, he assumed it was a legit blindfolded run. After all, she had over 4,000 takedowns of Alatreon, so it doesn't seem inconceivable that she was just that good. Pawns-a-Lot went viral after this, which was the goal all along. She's a small streamer and obviously thought this would get her notoriety, which would translate to more Twitch subs. What she didn't realize is that by going viral, her dumb little stunt was going to be seen by
Asmongold
people
and
actually
Penguin.
know
Look,
things
I don't
about
even know.
blindfolded
I didn't even
speedrunning.
realize
The short
Moist
version
Critical was
is that
called
the
Penguin
blindfold
Zero,
used
and
a
I have no
thin
idea
piece
who
of cardboard
Asmongold
that you
is.
could see straight through, as
Ryu's
evidenced
home?
by the fact
No,
that viewers could see
Ryu
straight
is
through
at
it
work.
as well in her video. Multiple videos were made discrediting her supposed accomplishments, so Pawns-a-Lot decided to double down. She bought a proper blindfold, covered her two monitors with thick paper, and defeated Alatreon
I
again.
want to know
Once
in
again,
what
this was all
world
fake. The
do
blindfold wasn't being worn properly, allowing Pawns-a-Lot to lean
people
back and
really
see
think
out of
that
the
you
bottom
can fight
of
a
it
boss
onto a third monitor where the
blindfoldedly?
game was running. How do we know that she had a third monitor, you ask? Well, there's a lot of technical stuff involving OBS that proves it, but the simplest evidence is that she kept looking at the monitor. After her two visible monitors were covered with paper, making the screens invisible, she kept looking at her secret third monitor to read chat. She even began responding to chat despite the
How
fact
the
that she
fuck
wasn't
can
supposed
you
to be able to
respond to chat if you want to
see? That is
believe
a
that?
fetus
You
right
want
there.
people to believe that you're
Yet,
actually
despite being
blindfolded? Like, what the
caught in
fuck?
act Yet again, Queen Pawns-a-Lot continued to triple down when Asmongold reacted to the proof that the new run was also fake.
Oh,
She
that's
sent one of her moderators
Asmongold.
to talk to him live on stream. The mod's proof that everything Pawns-a-Lot did was on the level was limited to "trust me, bro," and
I'm a physician.
which has been extensively memed on.
I can fight a
Trust
boss
me, I'm a doctor.
blindfolded. Okay, you're an
Good
obsession.
credentials for this.
You're an
Lying
obsession.
about credentials on the internet is a weird way
Exception.
to attempt to gain clout and
Preston.
credibility, and it definitely wasn't going to work in this case. Not
You
only was
fight for the
Moz required,
Commonwealth.
I'm a physician, not an appropriate explanation.
Whole
between
Commonwealth
Paul's
is in your
bizarre
hands.
posture that allowed her to see out of the bottom of the blindfold, but you're clearly not, dude.
Whoopsie.
I'm friends with the physician,
Oop.
and he's lucky if he has time to play Magic once every 6 months. There's no way that he would have time to actively moderate a Twitch streamer's chat, allegedly. It has since been revealed that Queen
No,
Princess
I don't
has pulled
want
the
to
same stunt
stop
before as
merging
well,
everything
performing a
together.
blindfolded run in a charity event.
You can
I
fight
only
Storm
assume
Terror
she tried
blindfolded.
it again, but
Really?
She didn't gain the
you
notoriety
just
she
saying
wished
that?
the first time around, but she also didn't get caught. This time, though, it worked, and she's finally internet famous among gamers like she always wanted. I guess that's why people always say to be careful about what you wish for, especially if your dungeon master is an asshole.
1. You open your mouth like a good little girl.
Guess that's some game
What?
reference that I don't get. Dungeons and Dragons? I think Dungeon Masters? That's it, right?
Man, I would
Just don't
love
view it as
to play like D&D, but I don't have enough friends. Just use John Lee, Nahida, Kuki, and Yai. Look, can you really fight these things blindfolded? Or are you just, like, assuming? Does any of these speak to you that you see? We have crazy conspiracies with the Joe Rogan podcast. Most dangerous examples of unintended consequences. Me and my mech can do it. Yes. I've seen Mike Tyson.
No. I don't know how to check this, but that seems it. No.
What?
No.
What
As any
unbelievable
parent will tell
bullshit.
you, one of the very first lessons we try to drum into As any parent will tell you, one of the very first lessons that we try to drum into our objectionable offspring is the
Oh,
fact that
hydrate.
actions have consequences. You don't need to drum
Actually, I
that
think
into them. It's
my
like
cup's almost
literally
empty.
my kid's touched the stove the other day. He's like 2 years old. You're cooking, you're trying to keep it away, and I'm like, don't touch that pan. Don't touch that pan. And he touches the pan. He's like, ah! And I'm like, that is kind of the consequence
Just cause
of your actions.
DLC, do
feel
you like?
that's not
I don't know.
something you
I've
need
only
to teach
ever
it, but
played it,
mostly
like,
it's just learned. Unfortunately, even
for
as
a few
adults, it's
hours.
not always immediately obvious
didn't get
what
that far.
these consequences might be.
I just
Yeah.
explored.
Just like the consequence of
with the
touching the
sandbox.
pan was not obvious to my 2-year-old. But the good news is you're not 2. I don't think. You shouldn't be watching this if you're 2. If you're wondering what the fuck's going on and you're new here,
This would have been so useful in the other video because he forgot to do it. So I'll shut up while Simon explains. Past Simon, I guess, explains.
welcome. You know more than I do. What are we talking about today? I don't actually know. I did read the title. You're probably not new here, but if you are, Dave wrote this. I'm reading it. This is what we do here. It's got to like react to this. You know.
Let him
score.
learn the
Let's
hard
go.
way. I agree,
One
letting someone
particularly
learn the hard
fine
way, but as
example
long
of
as
this
it's not
occurred
going
when
to
my
like
older brother and I were playing around
visibly
in my dad's
maim them.
workshop. My brother had been told that if you were to combine bleach and brake fluid, it would result in an awesome cloud of smoke.
What?
Unfortunately, and almost fatally, whoever had imparted this particular piece of wisdom had left out an important fact. That's gonna be chlorine gas. Isn't it? You've just made chlorine.
That's
You're gonna
danger.
poison yourself like the men in the trenches, bruh.
Yes, science!
Yes, that gas.
Science!
Chlorine gas. Had my
love
dad not
science.
happened to come out from under the car he was working on and seen what we'd done and dragged us out into the street, we may have been in serious medical trouble. Yes, you would have been. That's what chlorine gas
That's
does
what
to
death
people.
is.
Doesn't it? Like, it just ruins your lungs. We were still in trouble, just the kind where your lungs stay on the inside. While this basic misunderstanding of chemistry may have had the potential to seriously injure a workshop full of people, there are
It's
many examples of
fine.
unintended consequences which have much
When
more
we're gonna watch the
wide-reaching
Breaking Bad,
ramifications.
I
I'd
don't
say
know. Would
that's
you
a
guys
pretty
want to be?
serious one,
I
Dave. That
realized
ain't
I
like touching
don't.
the stove example. You made chlorine gas.
I would like to.
I didn't draw a shirt. That's okay.
Hello, everybody. Have you ever found yourself
Well,
in the
here's a
age-old
few
dilemma?
things. Me and
Boxes
Ryu
too
wanted
loose, briefs
to.
too tight. Well, worry no more because today's
It's a
sponsor,
show
Sheath,
called The Red
have
Green
got
Show. It's
your
something I
back. Or
want to
should
start.
I say not your back, but your
Yes, Simon.
regions. Today's
Shush.
episode.
Simon, shut up. We're gonna once I figure it out, we're gonna start watching The Red Green Show. It's like a Canadian comedy. It's like a parody of like Home Improvement and stuff. It's really fun. It's old, but I enjoy it. We get to join the Possum Lodge. Yes, it's Canadian. Watch One Piece. It's really short. No, I will not watch One Piece. It's too long.
Oh, we're gonna take a look at
I mean, here's the thing.
Stranger Danger.
Now that you're not, now that like a lot of the seasons are out, I imagine you can kind of like cut a lot of the fluff seasons out. I imagine. That way you can kind of like get on to plot.
Sticking with childhood.
Who has
a
time for
minute, turns
filler?
out that the Stranger Danger campaign, which was prevalent in the
Stranger
UK, I have no idea how
Danger.
it caught on in the rest of the world. I feel like everyone has this nowadays, right? In America, you've got this as well.
We have your son. Wire $20,000 to this account, or else. Can I have a discount?
What video are you watching? Oh,
You may not actually have improved the safety of children at all, so why not?
I
Really?
forgot the title of the video
I don't
already.
know, I feel like teaching my kids not to like.
There is such
The
thing as
problem
filler
is
in
most
One Piece.
strangers are just, I'm sure they're just nice. But then you get like 1 in a million who's like gonna capture you and put you in your basement. Well, there are two main reasons. Firstly, according to children's charity KidPower.org, teaching kids that the world is full of evil people that they don't know called strangers does not make them safer. It
You
just makes
sure?
them scared. Nothing
Oh.
wrong with a little bit of fear, though, is there? In fact, if kids do not know if they can get help from strangers in an emergency, then they could be even more vulnerable to harm. Some have died in
But-
situations where strangers could have helped. If you think about this for a moment,
People
it's
suck.
probably true. A child who has become separated from whoever is supposed to be looking after them at the time is probably going to be fairly scared as it is. If you add into
Oh.
that mix extra fear that at any moment they might be bundled into the back of
Every
a white
episode is not
van
important.
by any of the people around them that they've never met, a fear that we are encouraged to instill in our children these days, the likelihood of them approaching one of these people and asking for help is, I would think, negligible. I am always just like, well, just ask someone in a position of authority. If you're in a shop, ask the attendant, or ask someone who works
Yeah,
there.
like-
If you're on the street, ask anyone who's wearing a uniform. Like, and if there's no one else around, sure, ask a stranger. But doesn't it make sense to just always tell, ask people with uniforms? It's anyone.
Yeah, but like,
And if you're thinking about capturing children, just wear a uniform. Easy. What am I doing?
yeah, Simon.
You are
Tell us
a
how to kidnap
babbling
children.
Fool.
Um,
We have built a temple to madness.
With regards to my own child, my wife and I have always told him that should he become separated from us, he
Yeah,
should
like
attempt
you
find
have
a
to
mum
teach
with
the
children
children
and
like
ask her for
don't
help.
go
That's also a
talking to
good one.
strangers, but if
For
you
some
need
reason,
help,
we arbitrarily believe that this is the safest option. As the second point, the vast majority of children who come to any kind of sinister harm do so at the hands of somebody they know. So completely avoiding any kind of stranger is at least mathematically
You know what?
unlikely
That-
to
that's
enhance
actually a
their
good point.
chances of survival. Unfortunately, it goes even further than that. So it does it, Dave? Tell us more. Due to the fact that very few of us adequately discuss the potential dangers of those people familiar to us, not only is a child likely to see anything that happens to them as normal, even if they don't, they couldn't possibly tell anyone outside of the family about it because, as we all know, all strangers are dangerous. Oh my god, that's a conundrum, isn't it?
are we all strangers
Just
to each other
so
here?
you're like,
Yes, but
everyone's dangerous. Trust no one. Don't trust me. Don't trust your mom. Don't trust strangers. Just be alone.
Yeah. So monsters. Monsters. They run wild here. Are you staying safe?
yeah, like here's the thing. As we grow older, we can kind of the problem with children is they don't, I think, have the same thing of like self-perseverance or self. Children do not care, but they do. They will do anything. Like, that's why you tell children not to run up to strangers. Even though if a stranger says, "Oh, look, do you want to pet a puppy in my car?" I would do that 100% right now. But it's like children don't know about the hard life lessons. So children, the key word is innocence. I guess, maybe, I don't know. Children are more likely to be taken advantage of because they are innocent and don't know better. We know people. I got you maple syrup in my van. You want some? I don't know. As long as it's pure maple syrup from a tree. Trust no one, including yourself. Look, I don't trust my own brain. I thought I am also late because I was also packing cards up. And somehow I guess I already did the page, but because my ruler moved, I thought I didn't. So I'm here double guessing myself. Like, it's like, oh dear Lord, what did I do? It's a hard not life for us. Thanks, Annie. I will hydrate. I will put Simon back on while I fill my glass.
Kind of. What are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? How do we prevent any harm coming to children? I genuinely want to know. I'm not for a moment suggesting that it's a bad idea to warn your child against getting into a car on the street with somebody they've never met before. That's a terrible idea. But in my opinion, at least, it's a much better idea to teach your child to look out for suspicious behavior rather than branding everyone that they've never met as a potential sex offender or murderer. As a final point, and this is
I always treat people that they're going to murder me.
I found actually reputable studies to back up. For those of us who are, shall we say, less inclined to socialize outside of our family unit, that fear of strangers really does appear to stay with us into adulthood, which can lead to genuine issues with making friends in later life.
I just don't like people.
When you get into later life, you don't have to make any friends. Or is that just me? One thing I found super interesting.
Tangent! Undercover copter always
was like a piece of advice, because like I'll go to the park with my kid, right? Especially when they're a little bit younger, they would not want to leave the park. So they'd be like, okay, at some point we got to leave. And I just know. And it's like, oh, try all the little tricks. Tell them it's like the one last thing. Bribe them. Whatever. Just, no. Nothing was more important to my kid than just staying in the park. So at some point, it's like, I've got to grab the kids, basically put them in the pushchair, stroller.
Because that's not suspicious at all.
Them in against their will. And they're like screaming and fighting, and it's like a crowd full of people.
Actually, no. This happened to my mom. Actually. It does happen.
I'm sure I've seen that happen, but it's like, isn't that what the kid would be doing if I was a stranger?
The lady actually called the police, and the police showed up at my house, like my mom's house. It's just like, oh dear God, this was like when I was like really young.
Or you're not my mum, because then someone's gonna be like, bro, what the f you doing? Is this your kid? And they'd be like, yes, it's my kid. It's my kid.
Okay, I'm going to. Okay, this is a story of my mom's boss. What did I do? I didn't do anything. It was, I didn't want to, I think I didn't want to get in the car or something. I don't really remember. But another story is, Simon just said, tell someone that that's not your mom is sort of true to teach your kids. Because my mom had a boss. I'm just going to use their names because it made sense. It's Sheila and Tony. Now, she worked from home all the time, and so she would have a bunch of people coming over saying, hey, Sheila, Tony, blah, 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 and the kids are around that. So they almost got stopped at the border and wouldn't let cross because their children didn't call them mom and dad. They called them Sheila and Tony. So then they had to go on this whole spiel, bring out the birth certificates. And here's the thing. If you're traveling with children, always bring the birth certificate to prove that you are their parent. And even if both parents are traveling together, still do it. 1 second, I gotta sneeze. Now, because my mom, this is just an example. I would travel a lot when I was a kid, and my mom and dad weren't together when I was born. So, why did I mute? Because I was sneezing. Oh, why did I mute Simon? Because I'm going on in my own little tangent. So you technically need the other parent's permission to take a child out of the country, at least in Canada anyway. I also should have said it's Canada. So I think my mom, whenever we traveled, she always got a letter from a lawyer with my dad's signature to say, I want to hear this so I can read it out of 100. Okay, next time. Just in case the customs officer ever asked. I think they only asked once out of at least 10 different trips in and out of the country. And I think they only ever asked coming into Canada, I do believe. But yeah, like she always made sure, like, as long as I hit 16 and then you don't need the note because then whatever. So it was just like, it's always make sure you bring your documentation.
I'd be like, look, I'm just gonna call the police just because your kid's screaming that you're not his dad, and I just want to make sure. And if this happened to me, and like my kid did this for whatever f***ed up reason, I'd be like, thank you.
I
We'll
don't
wait for the
understand.
police. We'll show them it's my kid, and I will shake your hand because that is exactly.
My mom was
the
just
sort of
annoyed
person
because
I
I was
want
at a
out
Subway.
there watching out.
And we
for
were running
kids.
late.
Because
And then she was in the middle of work because she worked from home.
whoever that
She was
random
upset
person
that they
I made
called.
up is. Let's carry on. Macquarie Island.
A what?
Macquarie? Who gives a island? Full disclosure, I borrowed the idea for this entry from young Simon. Way back in history, nearly 5 years ago to be precise. I don't remember this at all. Macquarie Island was featured as part of a Top 10s video.
Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching Top 10's Net, and in the video today, the top 10 fascinating examples of unintended consequences.
I don't think
Number
I've ever
10,
watched
Macquarie
that.
Island. Located in the vast expanse of almost entirely empty ocean between Australia
Are they
and
just gonna-
Antarctica, Macquarie Island.
So, what was the deal? The island in question, located about halfway between Australia and Antarctica, is one of the most remote locations on the planet. I remember absolutely nothing about it. It was 5 years ago. Who the
He was so
remembers anything
little.
from 5 years ago? That was 2019. My kid wasn't even born. The first one. So much so, in
first
fact,
one.
that it wasn't actually discovered until around 1810. Fascinating, Dave. When it was discovered, the only things that appeared to live there were a lot of seabirds, fur seals, and penguins. Wait, was this the one that was like
Penguins.
stripped for all of its nitrogen or something from the bird, and then they used it for fertilizer?
I love penguins.
I don't think so. That wasn't in the Arctic, was it? That was some other random.
But he was
remote
bald back
island
then
just
too,
got
yes.
Completely destroyed. If it were not for the abundant wildlife, the island would most likely have been left to its own devices, as the Asiatic Journal and Monthly Register for British India and its dependencies put it. Nothing could warrant any civilized creature living on such a spot were it not for the certainty of industry being handsomely rewarded. You can tell that that's an old journal because they talk about like British dependencies.
What the hell is even that?
I don't think we
One
have
moment.
those anymore. They're all very independent. I think there are some. Aren't there some like random islands and but it just reads old. When humans arrived to hunt the penguins and the seals, they brought along with them, purely by accident, rats and mice. Given the gestation period of your average mouse is just under 3 weeks, and rats can give birth 4 times in 3 months. Jesus! Those are busy. If rabbits, it's all about rats. These rodents quickly became a problem for anybody interested in eating any meals that did not contain rat or mouse. The solution, it appeared, at the time, oh, I know this! They bring loads of cats! The cats onto the island, I remember this now. Why not bring along some cats? Yes! 5 years ago, thousands of videos. I remember the thing about the cats, and they f*** everything up. Although the cats certainly did help with the rodent infestation, cats are, at heart, arse. Unlike dogs who can be trained to only kill certain things, cats will just kill everything.
What the? Hey!
Unfortunately for the ecology of the island, this quickly included most of the bird population.
Cats
Because
are
humans have a tendency
assholes.
to not learn anything ever, in 1870, seal hunters had another idea. They're
Uh-oh.
going to bring something to kill the cats. You're just going to go onto some cycle, and then the island's just going to be filled with, like, lions or something eating each other. Why not bring along some rabbits as well?
Like the
After all,
cane
rabbits
toads.
are allegedly tasty. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of rabbits. I don't think it's particularly
Yeah,
good.
I can be
And
an
also
asshole
famous
if
for
I
their
want
ability
to.
quickly make more rabbits. In 1985, it was finally decided that the cats had to go, and after a cull that lasted nearly 15 years.
What? I love that. So cute.
How many fucking cats were there?
That's
The
a lot
last
of
of these
cats.
murderous vermin have been exterminated. Unfortunately, if anything, this made the rabbit population worse, and they quickly... They consumed
You'll just keep
40% of all the
making that
plant life.
sound?
So you release the cats.
Really?
The cats eat all the animals, and then you're
Till
like, okay,
Daddy's head
we'll kill all the cats and put some
explodes?
rabbits there. Wait, why did they put the fucking rabbits there? Oh, for
Why?
like food for the people. The rabbits just eat all the... There's nothing left. This island's fucked. It would not be until 2014, 14 years after the eradication of the last cat, that the island would be declared pest-free. As the place is now a natural heritage site, hopefully it may eventually
Oh my
fully recover
God.
from the effects of humans that don't know what they're doing. Wait, this actually sounds like it all worked out, so now it's just an island full of rabbits? That sounds good. I mean, not good. I don't
I mean,
like rabbits, but people like eating rabbit. People must love this shit. Congratulations!
Some people like eating
Humanity-
rabbit. I mean, I
humanity
never
did
had
it.
rabbit myself.
20 Fenchurch Street.
What?
I just literally made a video about this yesterday. This is the walkie-talkie, the skyscraper.
The human
that
fucking
is
up island
destroying
natural?
cars.
Yes.
Let's get into it, because there's nothing like
It's
a
like
bit of
how
repetition.
Australia is, led by cane toads.
England has a bit of a knack for buildings that are not entirely fit for purpose. For example, the city of Portsmouth built an insanely expensive commemorative tower to mark the beginning of the new millennium. Well, it was supposed to mark the beginning of the new millennium, but the contractors appeared to be using a different calendar than the rest of the world. Because of this, it didn't open until 2005!
2005?!
It's really late. I visited this 165-meter monstrosity on 2 occasions. On both occasions,
You can't eat
all of
wild
the lifts
rabbit,
were
though, in
out of commission.
Australia?
I was forced to walk up
I don't
each
think
and every
they
one of
have
the
rabbits in Australia.
163 stairs to the viewing deck. As regular viewers will no doubt appreciate, I gained very little enjoyment from this viewing platform. And
Oh yeah, Dave is
Dave,
blind.
why did you do this? You climbed up the top to a viewing platform. Anyone who doesn't watch this regularly, Dave is full blind. He's like, no sight. He can't appreciate the beautiful
So why
view
did he go up
of-
there?
Where the fuck was this? Portsmouth. Don't worry, Dave, it's not the most attractive town. Used to go to Portsmouth quite often.
Roasted!
They had some, I used to be in the Navy cadets, and they had some like Navy there that we used to go to every year.
Navy
I think there was a big boat. We used to stay on this boat.
Boat.
It was super hot and unpleasant.
It's a boaty boat.
I suppose it could have been worse. On the grand
Or
opening
the
night,
high.
the Portsmouth Mayor was stranded for several hours when the glass lift on the outside of the edifice failed and he had to be rescued. While these failings definitely highlight the consequences of employing inferior contractors, the unintended consequences of the skyscraper known as the Shard. Oh yeah, this is about the
The what?
the Shard.
What?
Located at 20
The fuck is
Fenchurch
the
Street
Shard?
in London were more interesting. Oh, is this the Shard? I must
Oh,
be conflating two
Shard.
things, because I definitely heard about Fenchurch Street super recently. Maybe in a video about the walkie-talkie that was burning cars? What's the unintended consequence of the Shard? Doesn't everyone like the Shard? The Shard quickly became an object of some irritation for many Londoners. Apparently not. The 38-story skyscraper, built largely from glass, is described as a dramatic edifice with curved exterior walls. As anybody
sounds
who went
pretty.
to school will probably know,
Sure,
if
what you
shine
wanna
a bright
do?
light
No.
through concave glass, it focuses that light into a very small and hot point.
Oh.
Although London isn't exactly known for its sunny weather,
that a
it does put
laser?
an appearance in occasionally, and on one of
Headphone
those
warning!
occasions,
Headphone warning!
You're wrong, Dave. This isn't the Shard, Dave. I'm getting my big brain out, Dave, because I just read the next line and it's about a melted Jaguar, which is definitely that mother walkie-talkie. 20 Fenchurch, right? Church. It's a mother.
It was like a headphone warning. I don't know. Don't ask me.
Yes,
I
man,
just
it's the walkie-talkie.
wanted to give that
it's
to you.
This, Dave, not the Shard. Come on. We're supposed to be here doing facts, Dave. Am I supposed to carry this all on my back? You had one job, Dave. I'm just kidding, Dave. We all make mistakes.
And this better be your last, Dave.
No, not the
So
fart.
The Shard,
The Shard.
didn't melt a brand new Jaguar XJ belonging to Martin Lindsay, but the walkie-talkie building did, which is located at 20 Fenchurch Street. Lindsay said it's absolutely ruined before going on to secure his entry into the table of statements, which state the obvious by saying
No, it's
they've
not
got
that
to do
either.
something about it. It wasn't just cars that fell victim to London's new death ray. Several local businesses complained that the
I
carpets
love
had
how
started
they just
smouldering,
built
roofs
like
had
a
been
death
damaged,
ray.
and in one case, paving slabs outside a local restaurant had shattered under the heat. Given that the building was designed by architect Raphael Vignoli, who definitely didn't design the Shard, or maybe he did. Maybe he did that as well. He's been a busy boy. I don't think so, though. Who I am told is held in high regard, you would have thought that he may have considered the consequences of placing what is essentially a giant magnifying glass
It's
in
a
the center
Shard!
of London.
Not
The building was later fitted with a sunshade on its south-facing side, which appears to have fixed the problem. Like I fixed the problem of your lack of facts in this entry, Dave.
Roasted!
Disposable nappies.
Oh
I
yeah.
had a mate, we had kids at exactly the same time. First kid's born and we're good friends. Like, me and my wife were friends with him and his wife. And they got pregnant exactly the same time as us. Had a kid I think it was 4 days after ours, first kid. And they were like, yeah, well, disposable nappies are really bad for the environment, so we're doing the like washable
I can see
nappies, which are apparently
they're
there's like pieces of fabric.
Later, I got to
which
do
people
house
used to
chores.
use in
Okay,
the
have
past.
fun,
You know,
Preston.
like
Thanks
in,
for stopping
TV
by.
shows, you
Having
get
fun
that,
with
like,
chores.
or, like,
Have
cartoons,
fun with
the
chores.
nappies held on, or diapers
Look,
held on.
disposable
with, like, a pin,
diapers
like a safety pin
are
or
very
whatever.
bad for the
And then you put them
environment.
in the washing
But
machine.
do you really want to
And
wash
I'm like,
diapers?
yeah, I'm not doing that for the environment. I don't care.
Same thing with
Like,
toilet
That's
paper.
not something I'm doing. About a week later, they were like, disposable nappies. Because kids taking a shit. It's not what you want. You don't want that going through your washing machine. Even, like, when we first had kids, I swear to God, and my wife was like, I don't know, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. But all of my clothes for like 2 years smelled funny. Because you're putting in the washing machine, you know, there's like heavily soiled stuff
Just
from
use
the kids.
bidet.
Like, it's
We don't have
piss,
bidets here.
food, bogies, whatever, and it goes in the
How
washing
baby's
machine.
gonna
and you
do
put in all the
that?
powder and stuff, but the clothes come out, they still smell funny.
You have to
And
wash
my
them.
clothes just smelled like funny children's smelly clothes for like 2 years, and now
That's
they've
why you
stopped
wash them
in their
separate.
clothes all the time. My clothes smell fine. If you're really old or want to have a go at reducing the amount of damage you cause to the environment, like my wife and I did for a while, Dave, you're
Oh,
one of
Dave
these,
tried this
okay?
too?
Maybe we're
Damn,
just
white
much of a pain in the
coloring
arse,
one
non-disposable
outside of
nappies
frame.
and
What?
diapers for those in the US are to use.
Oh,
Seriously,
because
for the
it's
first
still
year
going-
of my child's life, I was unemployed, and because of this, I was what I believe is now called the
Inside the
primary
frame is going to be
caregiver.
shown
Whilst
for
I
the
will be
emote,
eternally grateful
but
for the
I
time
still
got
want to
spend with
do
the
it
aforementioned
outside the
child,
frame.
I certainly do not miss the horrendous
for,
process of washing reusable
future merch.
nappies, Dave, mate.
So I don't have like the
No,
cutoff
you
look.
How long did you do this for? My mates gave up after a week, and this was only 5 years ago. I had it comparatively easy. All I had to do was throw them in the washing machine, select the baby setting, and wait for a couple of hours.
Baby
Some
setting?
days before fancy new washing machines,
That sounds
boiling,
handy.
mangling, and drying your baby's underwear must have felt like a full-time job. In 1948, Johnson & Johnson became the new best friend of mothers everywhere when they released the first disposable diaper in the United States. Although this was a single-use
I think
product,
anything
it still
disposable
had
is
to be
bad for the
worn
environment.
underneath
But like,
washable
what's
plastic
the alternatives?
pants.
Are you really gonna wash it?
Diapers
Nope.
that used ultra-absorbent polymers would not really be widely used until the early 1980s. Wow, I was born in like 87, so my parents were just about the right time. And I don't know, I wonder if we did use reusable nappies. I don't think so.
I don't think so. Baby setting,
I
can you
don't-
throw them
I-
inside?
My
Yes,
dad's similar
totally.
enough to me to be like, no, thank you.
It's probably something to like
I don't care
sanitize
about the environment that
clothing.
much, and I have enough money to buy like the giant nappies are expensive though. It's like I couldn't believe it. You just go into the first few times it's like going to the store, like buy a bunch of nappies, and then you'd be checking. out and you'd be like,
Nappies
"Yo,
is also
what?"
another word for
Like,
diapers.
who is the what now? Like nappies is one of those things. Like you know when you go into the supermarket, you buy salt. You're just not checking the price because you know salt's like 15p or something. I thought that
Diapers
would
are
be the
very
case with,
expensive. It's
nappies.
like one of
It's like,
the
oh, no,
most
no,
ones
no,
people
no,
steal,
no.
actually.
I have no regrets, though. Nappies rule. Although they were undoubtedly a time-saving marvel, it is unlikely that the original manufacturers stopped to consider the long-term effects of these largely non-biodegradable
They're called
products. Or if
diaper
they did,
Pampers.
many of the
Well,
parents using
Pampers
them did
here
not.
is,
I did not, Danny.
Pampers is a brand here.
I did not, Danny.
Danny, it's Dave. How dare?
People are probably like, oh, Simon, the fact that you're like proud of this is like so shameful. You don't like the environment. It's like, I do like the environment fine.
I think
but
a
no,
lot
I'm
of
not- I'm not
stuff
doing
was made with
no,
not thinking
I've
about
talked
the
this enough, and
environment.
I'm not doing that, and I'm not apologizing. By the time people began to wake up to the fact that roughly 5,000 nappies that each of their children would use would either have to be burnt or thrown into landfill sites where they would remain for hundreds of years,
Holy
manufacturers were
crap.
making so much money that nothing was likely to change anytime soon. In fact, they began to do their best to ensure that children remain in nappies.
I mean,
for as
they
long
do
as
have
possible.
eco-friendly
In
diapers now
1999,
that are made with like bamboo.
funded pediatrician T. Berry
But they're
Brazelton
more
told parents
expensive.
not to rush toilet training, and from then on, companies have been routinely making larger and larger sizes. It is like
Biodegradable?
they'll just push
Yeah, it's
that,
like made
they'll
with
just push
bamboo.
that. It's like, oh, so your kid's not potty trained yet? No, but their voice is broken. They're 15. Just carry on. The money-making scheme appears to be working too. In 2017, a BBC article claimed that a survey by the Association of Teachers and Lecturers found that 3/4 of teachers have seen an increase in the number of children who are starting school without
What?
being potty trained. Kids start school at what, 5?
Yeah, what?
6? Not potty trained by that?
Can't you?
Both of my youngest kids too. He was potty trained at like 1 and 1.8. It was before he was.
Yeah, like you can potty train kids really soon. Like, why
So
are you
the
sending
invention of
kids
this
to
labor-saving
school
device
if they're
seems
not
to have
potty
had
trained?
At least 2 unintended consequences, or at least unintended by the lady who is credited with the original invention, Valerie Hunter Gordon. According to Google, 300,000 disposable nappies are sent to landfill every minute.
What?
No. I don't know how to check this, but
That's
that
a
seems
lot.
No.
1 hour later.
Is it true?
ChatGPT just doesn't connect recently. It pisses
Oh.
me off.
I like ChatGPT.
Okay, I'm
Very
trying on my
useful.
phone.
2 hours later.
ChatGPT, what's happening? This was happening yesterday. I need you.
1 eternity later.
Hey, how many nappies are thrown away per minute globally?
1 million, zillion, jillion, dillion,
I
cotillion
love
times
that.
later.
Your authentication token has expired. What the f is an authentication token?
The authenticator.
It's like sign out and sign in again?
I will say I
want to-
don't.
I want to- I
The
want to-
authenticator stuff I do like, but at the same time it's a pain in the ass. My dad probably trained me. It's just by leaving me in underpants, letting me pee
Someone in the
myself in
comments
public.
Use ChatGPT to figure this out. And
Never
I'll
once
fix
did
it
it
within
again.
the
Oh
time
my
I promise.
God,
You need to
that
get
is
on with it.
sad.
And secondly, manufacturers actively encourage parents to delay toilet
But you
training to maximize
learned.
profits. CFCs. There is no invention that changed the transportation, storage, and consumption of food quite like the refrigerator did. Nowadays, pretty much everybody has at least one of these cool devices in their house. Unfortunately, in the early days of home refrigeration, owning a fridge could be exceptionally detrimental to your health, especially if anything went wrong. You see, in order to keep these
I mean, it
machines
does
cold,
work.
some sort of coolant is required. Shocking. Oh, we know. In the early days, the chemicals of choice were usually sulfur dioxide, which is extremely damaging to the eyes and skin, or methyl formate, which is not only highly flammable, but also extremely toxic if inhaled. You could just die if your fridge leaks. It's kind of terrifying. Obviously, as long as they were contained within a sealed coolant system, this was not a problem. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but
like,
aren't fridges
nuclear
prone
reactors
to
are
leaking,
fine
or at
as
least
long as
like
they're
newer
sealed within the
fridges?
nuclear reactor thing. And it's like, yeah, but when they're not, it's real bad news. The problem arose if, for whatever reason, these chemicals escaped into the home. One of the people tasked with coming up with a less deadly cooling agent was Thomas Midgley, a chemist who worked for General Motors, having already played a large part in the decimation of the environment when he invented leaded fuel. Midgley, who would also go on to be named as the most harmful inventor in history.
Oh my
would lead the
God.
team that
Can you
eventually
imagine
came up
having the
with a
most
non-toxic,
harmful
non-flammable
inventor
refrigerator
in
coolant
history
called
title?
Dichlorofluoromethane. The chemical, the very first of the CFCs, would be sold under the brand name of Freon 12 and revolutionize the refrigeration industry. In time, yeah, Thomas Midgley's one of these dudes. It's like, he didn't add lead to gas for fun. It reduced something called knocking, which meant that engines weren't like blowing up all the time.
What?
And he
What
found
do you
a
mean
non-toxic
engines
thing
blew
for
up?
fridges. The problem is, both of these inventions also had, like, they're real unintended consequences. The name of this video, that's how it works.
Great job.
In time, CFCs would catch on in a big way. Not only were they used for refrigeration, but also as the main propellant in aerosol cans. It's perhaps a little unfair that Midgley takes all of the blame for this, because unlike his idea of leaded fuel, there was no way he could have known exactly how much damage his latest invention would
Did I
cause.
hear a knocking
So,
sound?
what was the
Yes.
problem? Well, as
In the
we
video.
now know, CFCs
Not on my
are
end.
exceptionally detrimental to the environment. More specifically, their astronomical usage over the years is almost entirely responsible for the huge hole in the ozone layer, which was detected in 1985. Once the damage and the cause of the damage had been established, the United Nations, along with 45 other countries, moved with remarkable swiftness to ban the use of CFCs. In 1987, the Montreal Protocol was signed, and as a direct result of the reduction of these chemicals, the hole in the ozone layer is believed to be shrinking. So, next time you crack open a cold beer, enjoy milk that you've owned for more than 2 days, or help yourself to a glass full of ice, spare a quick thought for just what exactly it cost in environmental.
It's okay. I will take the environment over having stuff. Ah! Yes! It's this one!
I don't know what this is.
What?
Attention, all idiot television viewers. Yeah, what are you doing watching TV when you've got glorious YouTube
I
to
watch YouTube on my TV.
Whatever you're about to do, just jolly well stop it. Seriously, just sit down for a minute and listen to some advice from some clever people with posh voices before you accidentally kill yourself and everyone else in the immediate vicinity. All right, Danny, who wrote today's episode?
Oh, it's Danny wrote it. Okay.
I don't actually know. I did read the title. You know more.
Writing
than
stuff
I
is
do,
cool, but you know
right
what's
now about
cooler?
what this
Breathing
episode's about,
fresh
because you've
air.
probably read the title
Well,
before clicking on this video.
yeah,
If you
no.
didn't, you're a hardcore fan. So
Are we
thank
supposed
you.
to
In the
keep
dark
our
ages
meat
before the Second
frozen
World War, I
and
can only
fresh
assume
and
the
not
majority of
rotten?
The world's population spent most of their time just wandering off cliffs. And
How am I supposed to keep
accidentally
my cat
setting
out of my
themselves on fire.
vegetables?
People did
We stopped
accidentally
owning a
set
TV
themselves
here
on
since we
fire a
use
lot.
phone most of the time.
Like,
Yeah, see, the reason I have a TV is
people
for
would
my
lie in bed
consoles. That's about it.
And then they'd like have put on like creams and stuff. Like, you know, people would put like, I don't know, some sort of cream on their bodies for some reason. Why do people put cream on their bodies?
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Oh
I guess,
my
like, 'cause of the dry
god.
skin or whatever. And apparently, like, cream in the past used to be flammable or some like that. And then these people, like, over time, this cream would like gradually get rubbed into their beds or whatever, and then they'd be smoking in bed and they'd fall asleep and they'd drop the cigarette, and because there was all this like petroleum cream or whatever in their beds, it would just be like and they'd set themselves on fire.
Holy
but now,
shit.
like, I think there's less flammable cream.
I have a TV and I never use it. My mom always leaves it on and the sound is really annoying. Look, I need like a constant sound of noise, which is one of the reasons we're watching videos in the first place, and not
this
just
could go horribly wrong. I've got eczema on the back of my hands. I've been using this cream stuff.
random
Let's see.
background music.
No, it just melts. We're all safe. Gosh, that got warm very quickly. I bought this like incredible lighter. It's got like 3 flames in it.
Ooh, that looks pretty.
Just before we continue with today's video, let's talk about something we all need but might not give enough attention to, and that's skincare. Look, I know it's not my usual topic, but hang on, today's video is
Skincare?
brought to you by Tiege Hanley, and they have a
Most
game-changing
perfume is still
solution
flammable? Yeah, 'cause
for
it doesn't-
skincare rookies like me, and possibly like you. My audience is mostly dudes, and set in a bid.
Well, I think perfume is flammable because it's made with like what, alcohol or something? Sorry, I'm checking my battery.
Better.
I think it
as
has to
those
do with like the
days
fact that
before
it's like
public
mostly
service
alcohol
announcements
based
or public information films. If you're British,
or
they were
some
beaming
sort of
important messages
flammable
through the television
liquid.
set in a bid to try and help you stay alive, at least for the rest of the week. I've brought it up before.
I am dying
I
of
am
heat.
haunted.
Somebody trying to scare me? The only thing scary about
I
this is the
love him.
monetization.
He is great.
And it's why I
Yes,
have
and all
smoke
air
detectors.
fresheners. I had a
Although
friend
just
threaten
moved
someone
into
by
a new
shooting
house and I
flames at
realised
them
I
with
don't have
bud
any
spray
smoke.
and a
It's been
lighter.
like a month and
Look,
a
that's a
half
homemade
since this new house.
flamethrower, and that is
The
good when you do
fire
not have bud
so
spray.
many renovations is finally ready.
Or when
Even
you
though
want
it's
to
like
get rid of a lot of
renovating a
mosquitoes.
house for like 2 years. It's like,
I
believe
mean,
me,
what?
I am aware.
I'm not
I am
saying
very
anything.
aware of this fact. And there's no smoke alarms in there. But when I was a kid, there was this terrifying PSA, or what the fuck are they actually called? Public information films.
I love
where-
PSAs.
And I brought this
They're
up
great.
before,
They're
it's like,
funny.
oh, fuck me, I got a delivery. Hold on. Well, the DHL man was not f***ing around today. I don't know what this is. This. Oh, does that show my address? I'm not going to show this. It's a giant external hard drive bay. It takes like
External hard drive bay.
10 discs or something because I got sick of having an infinite number of external hard drives. Now they're going all in one big box. Fascinating stuff, Simon. I was telling you about like something I don't care about, so we're just going to move on.
Okay!
Originally designed as wartime efforts to encourage
What?
citizens to save more scraps, plant more vegetables, invest
I
in
don't know what he
bonds, and
says. I
avoid
apologize.
giving away the exact movements of Navy ships when gossiping down the grocery store, the Super Short Films later sought to educate the imbecilic public
very
on a
warm.
wider range of critical topics, whilst also giving TV broadcasters
Yes, I'm
going
gonna complain about this whole time.
gaps in the commercial breaks, largely produced in the early years by the Advertising Council in the US and the Central Office of Information in the UK. The Central Office of Information sounds like the most Orwellian that I've ever heard. What did you call it in America? The Advertising Council. That sounds much more free, doesn't it? It just does. I feel like I'd like to run the Central Office of Information, and I'd just have people watching my videos and no other videos.
There we go.
But then I'd probably have to give even more of my money to the government, which would suck. The films included sage advice on how to cross the road, how to prevent forest fires, how to avoid joining criminal gangs.
Yes, it's gonna be a
Neither
more
of us on
updated
that.
version of it.
Every day, I'm always getting invited to join criminal gangs. How do I not?
I don't want to.
I'm dying.
And what to do with the bodies of your
Heat.
family members in the aftermath of a nuclear
So much
holocaust?
heat.
I get the feeling that that's a real thing, and that's
Also-
like, oh,
It doesn't help that I've been up since like 4 a.m.
Those
and right
do
now
clever
it's like
people
almost
with
2
posh
p.m.
voices didn't always seem to know exactly what
Ryu
we're
had
talking
an
about,
an
and our
audit
efforts
to
keep
do,
the
so he normally
ignorant
gets up at
masses out of the
5:30,
crematorium, out of jail,
but
or at
obviously,
least out of the
because
VD clinic where
he gets up
we're
at
occasionally
5:30
dismissed as
and
patronising,
he
baffling,
leaves
misguided, and
the
downright
house at
inaccurate
6:30
attempts to
because he
scare
works at
children
like
and adults alike
7.
into towing the line. I'll tell you
But-
what though. Oh, the smoke alarm thing. I was talking about how this smoke
Have
alarm
fun!
PSA as a kid, or PIA, public information bill, or PIA, public information bill.
Because he works at SITS. He got up at 4:30 and I was already up at 4 because I couldn't sleep. I'm like, well, might as well stay up and
who doesn't replace the batteries
played
in his
Fallout
smoke
for
alarm
this
or whatever, and his
morning.
whole family die, and you're like, what the?
Did I play
And
Fallout?
so now I always have smoke alarms, except now I don't. And carbon monoxide alarms.
No,
as well.
I
feel like
worked
saw one of
on
those and just scared the shit out of me. And I'm always
that
like,
little
have those things.
infographic
Have those things. It's
that was
really
very
important, so your
small
family
for
don't die.
promoting the 500 drawing prompt thing.
Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Mommy. Oh.
The smoke and fumes from a house fire can kill a child in under a minute. Wake up, get a smoke alarm.
Some more
That is so morbid.
so spectacularly that they encouraged viewers to do the exact opposite of what they were being told. Before we dive in, it's like, well, I wasn't going to join a gang, but then I found out how not to join gangs, and I found myself joining a gang. How? Before we dive at what we all teenagers, where
I
we
just
not do,
scratched
we
my
just
nose.
do the opposite of what our parents tell us, except in this case it's the government, with messages about gangs. Before we dive into some of the worst and weirdest PSAs to ever be produced, just remember in the meantime to avoid making eye contact with strangers and always say no to absolutely everything.
No.
The I love the emotes. They're great.
No.
No. No. I apologize for any headphone users.
Yes.
I'm generally
No,
moving this around,
yes.
my coffee, trying to find a position where
I'm
it's close enough to me that I
hungry.
can sip on
Ryu
it
better
without
get
having to reach
home
too far, but not
soon.
so close
I'm
that I'm actually
hungry.
gonna smack it over with my hands, because that's the sort of that I would do, because that's the sort of person that I am.
Why are you the way that you are?
Go for cakes.
What the fuck is Gopher Cakes?
There's a long list of juicy stuff which is easy to get your hands on in America, but a lot trickier to source in other parts of the world. Squirty cheese in a can, red Solo cups, Girl Scout cookies,
I
assault
love Girl
rifles,
Scout cookies,
that
they're
kind
great.
of thing. Yeah, agreed. All of those things we don't really get. I think you could find red Solo cups if you looked really hard. But I've never felt so envious of those lucky American citizens on the day
the
that
boy
I first saw
explodes
the
in 8
commercial for
seconds.
Gopher Cakes. They looked amazing. It's no wonder that most Americans don't give a flying marshmallow that they can't buy proper Kinder Surprise eggs.
Marshmallow.
I would. Danny, why do you do this to me? And I feel like I have to elucidate this for the 1000th time, bro.
I
And
love
for
Kinder
everyone
Surprise.
watching, Americans, for the love of God. And now I just realised that everyone's going to do it anyway, just because I asked them not to, because it's the internet, everybody. Please.
Exactly.
If
That's
you
what people
find
do. If you
a
tell
Kinder
people not to
Surprise
do
egg
something,
in
they
an
do it.
American store, 99 times out of 100, it's going to be something called a Kinder Joy. It says
It's
Kinder
not a
Joy.
surprise.
It's not a Kinder Surprise. It's a different thing, and it's
Kinder
much
Surprises
worse.
have toys on the inside.
Okay, with that out of the way, for the 1000th time, let's continue. Why would anyone crave that kind of tacky shit when you've got Gopher Cakes? What the fuck are Gopher Cakes?
I don't know.
I don't know what
The
Gopher
commercial
Cakes
from
are.
1997 kicks off with a bunch of school kids arriving home and dashing straight to the pantry.
Yeah, but they're not
to
like
gorge
separate
themselves
together.
silly on
Like
these
they're
chocolatey treats plucked from the
yeah, but Kinder Joys are different than Kinder Surprises. They're separate. Like with Kinder Surprise, like the toy is actually in it, unlike the Kinder Joy.
Garden of Heaven. They ram the cakes into their
I love
mouths,
Gopher
they drench them in whipped cream, they put them in a blender, they build huge cake fortresses, they even attempt to play a game of checkers with them, which is a bit odd because all the cakes are the same colour.
Just one stack is what it takes, and it's Gopher.
Cakes.
What's going on? as the accompanying jingle merrily urges viewers to open wide, stuff your face, there's always room for gopher cakes. All the kids are caught up in a genuine
Kinder Joy way better.
Seems
I like the
can't compare
Bueno
to
chocolate.
anything else in life. But by the close of the advert, they passed out on the sofa from the sheer exhilarating buzz of it all. What a
Don't you
time to
think
be
they're
alive.
passed out from the
Oh,
amount of
hang
sugar?
on a minute, though. Instead of pointing viewers in the direction of the nearest store where you too can buy about 750 gopher cakes, the commercial concludes with the somber words, "Exercise lately? Get up, get out."
Exercise
1 second. There's an emergency alert.
This isn't like a smoke alarm thing.
Oh.
Where it's like you should
Never
really
mind,
get
it's
smoke
just a
alarm.
test.
It's like, yo, people
Oh, shit!
know that they should exercise. By telling me to go and exercise, I'm not going to suddenly go and exercise. Although, I went for a medical a couple of years ago, and the doctor was like, you should
Okay. Okay, I panicked there. I didn't know it. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. It was just a test of the emergency alert system. But I didn't know if it would show up on my iPad. Like the notification. So I just panicked there. Because I'm like, oh shit. Because that will literally show my location. Alrighty, we're fine. We're good. I just had like the pure panic, like, oh shit. Is it like I'm trying not to like
exercise
have the whole
more. And I'm
Spotify
like,
incident
yeah, I
all
should.
over
And
again.
then I started exercising more. So maybe this does work. Fuck it. It's great. Oh no, it's not really a TV commercial at all. It's a PSA cooked up by the Advertising Council, which was apparently intended to encourage kids to get off their asses and go out and cause trouble in the streets instead of lazing around nursing bellies stuffed with chocolates. Do we really have to worry about this for kids? I'm realizing now, of course, like childhood obesity is a thing, Simon.
Look, that kid's got bosoms. Who's got a wet towel? Come here, you butterball.
Don't make me run. I'm full of chocolate.
I think I just grew up. When I grew up, there weren't that many fat kids. I'm sounding like a right old boomer right now.
Oh God.
But in school, I remember we just had like one fat kid.
That guy in a little coat.
And he was the fat kid.
What's happening?
There wasn't that many. Now I feel it's different, right? I don't know why. But yeah, so okay.
Well, there's
No,
difference between
I realize
fat
I'm making
and
all these
obese
points
and
I'm just
overweight.
bringing myself to gradually agree with the government. So f it, the government's always right. All hail the government. The flaw in that
Yay,
concept is that what it really
government.
showed was a group of kids having the time of their lives before drifting into a state of blissed out contentment. And the only
We
result
love
from
the
all of this was
government.
a crushing sense of disappointment from the kids that gopher cakes didn't really exist, and a sense of duty from the parents.
Look, don't
to
give me that
console their
Kappa
weeping
face.
children with a yummy batch of lard cakes instead. This is a very weird advert. Like, I feel like it would be the same as showing like John, and he's working his regular job, and then he leaves the office, he rushes home, and he shoots his armful of black tar heroin.
What?
I'm not supposed to be in here.
And then he has a fantastic time, and he passes out on the sofa in an opium-induced haze of awesomeness.
Oh, it's like getting sucked up by an angel.
And then it's like, don't do drugs. Like, you're just selling heroin. Jesus. If some
Yeah.
super shrewd confectionery company ever bothered to actually produce gopher cakes and market them with a similar commercial, it would become
We
the
love
best-selling product of
drugs.
the year. An online petition was recently launched to make gopher cakes a real snack food, but so far it has sadly only amassed a grand total of 11 signatures. Well, we can change that. I mean, if we could be bothered. You probably can't be bothered. I'm certainly not going to be bothered enough to put a link to this in the description below, so why would I have any expectation that you would go to Google and seek it out and then sign it yourself for a product that isn't even real?
I will watch whatever
and
you
will
sent
never become
after.
real.
I love how that's like the default for Google. What does that even say?
Yeah. Don't know where I was going with that. Let's carry on. I can only assume that's because most of the millions of
I love my
potentially
government. This was not
enthusiastic
said with a
respondents
gun.
are far too weak to lift
Oh
their
yes, the
arms
government.
and
Fantastic.
push the mouse button. Just say, Every kid who grew up snorting crack in the 1980s, yes, will no doubt remember the massive Just Say No campaign, which was intended to teach children various different ways of firmly declining any illegally mind-bending drugs that were getting dished out in school assembly. Originally spearheaded in the US by First Lady Nancy Reagan, UK viewers are more likely to associate the slogan with the long-running children's drama series Grange Hill.
What the fuck is Grange Hill?
Grange Hill. Do I remember Grange Hill? I'm thinking of something called Biker Grove for some reason. Biker Grove. I don't think I really watched it. I think it was just a show that was finishing just before there was a show I liked or something like that, but I don't remember.
How you
Grange
doing
Hill,
today?
and I don't know why I'm talking about Biker Grove.
Oh my god, my Canadian is showing.
Sorry. It featured a school kid, Zamo, who suddenly became a
Zamo?
heroin addict. Holy shit. Starting young, are we? The gripping saga spawned a spin-off hit performed by the cast called Just Say No, which featured the slightly troubling lyrics, don't listen to anyone else. All you gotta do is be yourself, just say no. Closely following that advice from a very young age is probably what landed me in Borstal. It was during this, I know so little about Danny's life, just these little tidbits that he throws into the video sometimes. I'm like, maybe Danny was in a Borstal.
Good reform school for
Dunno.
youth between something
it was
and
during this
something.
period that RTVs became positively saturated with alarming anti-drug messages, including a particularly memorable PSA
don't
from
say,
the US
don't do
starring
drugs,
a fried
kids.
egg. Oh, is this the one where it's like, this is your brain on crack, and it's just like an egg frying? The simplistic 30-second message kicks off with actor John Roselius striding purposefully into a small kitchen and directly asking the viewer if they're not clear about what doing drugs does.
Is there anyone out there who still isn't clear about what doing drugs does?
Doing
All
drugs
right,
is
then.
bad,
He
children.
then goes on to visually demonstrate the dangers of drugs via the medium of cooked breakfast. John picks up an egg and declares, "This is your brain." And then he points meaningfully at a hot frying pan and declares, "This is drugs." This is a lead-up to John's compelling showstopper in which he cracks the egg onto a sizzling pan before holding it up to the
This
camera
is
and
your
revealing,
brain on
"This is
drugs."
your
I mean,
brain
it
on
is
drugs."
until you're
Look,
an
this guy's
adult.
obviously never done drugs, because that's not what drugs are like. Drugs are awesome.
Is it crack? Is that what you smoke? Do you smoke crack?
No, I'm just joking. Don't do drugs. Some drugs are okay. It's okay. It's okay. Do you. Like they say, you don't need to listen to anybody else. Don't listen
Yeah.
to me. Just you do you. If you want to do drugs, f***ing have at it. If it's legal in your state.
Yeah, only do legal drugs. Have at it if it's legal in your state. Or country, yes.
If it's not, don't do drugs. Or buy them on the black market. I don't know. You do you.
You do you.
With a bit of
We're
cocky
fine.
swagger, John then asks the viewer, "Any questions?" End of commercial. Well, yes, John, I have plenty of questions, like, what was that even supposed to be? It can hardly be described as the most insightful or scientifically accurate or sympathetic depiction of what it's like to be caught in the grip
Yes,
of a
take
drug
my word.
addiction. Whilst the producers of the commercial reckon that it was successful to some degree and helped to raise awareness of how illegal drugs, just like hot frying pans, there were concerns raised that most young people would naturally find a hot, funky fried egg a bit more tempting than a cold egg still encased in a shell. In fact, many drug users went on to adopt the phrase, "Let's go fry an egg," as slang code for "let's go and get wasted
my
on
God.
narcotics." Yes! I can see why. This is such a trash film.
Any questions?
The short film also incurred the wrath of the Egg Board, who complained that the Advertising Council were giving youngsters the impression that their yummy high-protein eggs were as dangerous and addictive
Yeah.
as cocaine. How the did you come to that conclusion? It's got
I
nothing
mean,
to do
eggs
with
are
that.
delicious,
You
but they are
idiots,
not
allegedly, in my opinion. But the pushers of these anti-drug announcements always had a bit of
drug-worthy.
difficulty in getting their preachy messages across to a dubious young public. The Advertising Council tried hiring celebrities to help put up a more convincing argument, such as Burt Reynolds.
Hey, that's me.
To warn viewers that you can't be hit if you're high. What?
What?
You can't be a... Oh, you can't be a hit.
Oh.
What do you mean, be a hit? Is this some, like, 80s shit? People were like, yeah, man, you're cool. Be a hit.
Oh, my God.
Cringe, bro.
I thought
I'll tell you one thing. Drugs is the answer. It takes guts to be a winner. When you reach your goal, it's great to know that you did it with drugs.
Mustache.
After all,
oh
we
my god.
hit with
His
drugs.
mustache.
Something to think about.
History might suggest otherwise, Bert and Clint Eastwood have explained how he tells drug dealers to take a hike. Later attempts were made in the 90s to get into the heads of much younger viewers by roping in such talent as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Pee Wee Herman. I kind of get why the Turtles might have been considered appealing role models, even if their advice was entirely limited to ordering a pizza as a healthy alternative to accepting crack. At least they weren't trying to push for gopher cakes. Pee Wee Herman was a slightly odd choice. Who the fuck's Pee Wee Herman? I've heard of this.
Pee Wee
I've no
Herman
idea who
sounds
he is, and
familiar.
Not entirely because he had recently been arrested for wanking in an adult cinema. Uh-oh.
Wait, what?
Oh, I know this story. I don't know why I know this. This must have been covered in a previous episode. It's widely reported that the actor Paul Rubens was forced into reprising his role as Pee-wee for this PSA as part of his community service for that offense, but that seems to be unlikely. The main issue with the Pee-wee film is that he's not really in character at all during this creepy, starkly lit piece, where he solemnly warns toddlers that rock cocaine isn't glamorous or cool, and yet it's still difficult to take him seriously on any level.
This is crack. Rock cocaine. It is cool. Everybody wants to be cool. It is glamorous. It is worth it.
He's right. Rock cocaine isn't cool. You know what's cool? Cocaine. How many people do you know who are not cool who do cocaine? It's like zero. People who do cocaine are cool. But you do you. I'm just joking.
Are we still talking about cake? No, we're not talking about cake.
I'm into my middle age with man. I'm into my middle age with kids phase as a man.
Oh, bitch, there's cake downstairs.
Way less cocaine.
You big baby.
As recently as 2015, the New South
Actually,
Wales
cake is
Department
probably
of
not the
Premier and
best
Cabinet
choice to
was still
eat.
managing to make a proper
I've already
hash of
had,
things
like,
when they
cookies
introduced
already.
Stoner Sloth to the Australian TV audience. A typical recreational weed user.
I haven't actually
was
had
here represented
proper
by
food.
a man wearing a giant
Actually,
hairy
it's cake,
sloth
like,
costume
from
who struggled to
3
speak
days
here
ago,
except to
actually.
perform such basic tasks as passing the salt at the family dinner table.
I remember this.
Chasing the salt.
The obvious message is that smoking weed turns you into a useless, lazy, bumbling, socially awkward beast who clearly makes for a deeply embarrassing dinner guest. Unfortunately, Stoner Sloth came across as more of a likable and cute creature, ended up becoming embraced by the stoner community as their unofficial mascot for all things green and smelly. Yes!
Oh my god.
He's like, let's go fried egg, bruh. And if that wasn't bad enough, the producers
What's the
of
sloth
commercials
doing?
forgot to check if the domain stonersloth.com
He's doing
already
his
existed.
best.
The URL actually pointed to an online cannabis store. Yes, please. Which
He's
received
trying
a
his
huge surge
best.
in traffic thanks to the free advertising. On the whole, wait, wasn't this back in the day? Is weed legal in New South Wales? That's Australia, right? I don't think weed's legal in Australia. Is it? If it is, good reason to go. But you do you. On the whole, though, recent anti-drug campaigns thankfully tend to be a lot less sanctimonious and a lot more informative and genuinely helpful compared to the olden days of just comparing your stupid brain to a fried egg. Yeah, I feel like these do have a place if they're done correctly. Be like oxycodone. Maybe
Sloths are
don't
used
do
to
that.
use as weed
Like,
mascots. They are, because they're
oxycodone
slow.
fucks up your life.
If
Don't
you've
do it.
ever
There's a whole
done
history
weed, then you
Watch that
know
Netflix show.
you're not going very far. And you're not making any scientific discoveries.
No. We've come a long way since the 1980s when the Advertising Council felt that all we needed was a short film of the legendary Belinda
You were just
Carlisle,
going to
former
sit on
member
your
of the
couch
brilliantly spiky band The Go-Go's,
and
revealing how her
eat.
new healthy life is amazing now that she's given up the
Or
naughty drugs that
just
she used to
watch
take back when she was a punk.
videos and not do anything exciting.
Nobody said quit. And nobody said stop or else. And now, life's the beach.
Yeah,
Not using any
and I
drugs.
mean, we could all look at Mick Jagger as an example. He's like been a rock star forever, and now look at him. No, he's still incredible. He still performs live. I don't really know. I don't want to like allege that Mick Jagger has done plenty of drugs.
I always think it's better to be not taking drugs or drinking or anything. But that's not saying I've never done it. Of course I have.
But I would assume, being Mick Jagger, that, you know, he has.
Of course I have.
And he still looks awesome. He still, like, rocks the fuck out. You do you. This is not me promoting drugs, it's just a joke. A minor niggle here is that the film was recorded during the relatively early years of Belinda Carlisle's cocaine addiction, which would go on to span another 2 decades.
Life's the beach.
She now admits that she can't believe she's still alive. They may as well have pushed Ozzy Osbourne in front of the camera to tell kids to stay clean. Actually,
Oh yeah, he would have been a lot better.
I feel it's better to put someone on camera who is in the throes of whatever they're in and being like, you really want this? You really want this? Look, this woman's smoking meth right now. Look at her teeth. Look at them. Do you want that? Do you? Brush your teeth 2 minutes a day and don't smoke crack.
It's not a mustache.
Or meth, or whatever the
It's
Actually,
it's the kitty
now that I
face.
think about it, that's not such a bad idea, is it? It's not. It's not a bad idea. It's a better idea. You wouldn't download a car.
Oh, it's this one.
Except you would.
You're goddamn right.
Ever since the 1970s, viewers have been bombarded with pretty hostile messages from corporate media
You
companies
wouldn't download
which
a
aggressively
car.
explain why pirating music, films, and video games is an act of pure evil, which shaves off millions of dollars from the annual profits of the greedy fat cats. Oh no! Sorry, what I meant to say is that piracy is an act of selfishness which deprives artists and creators of vital revenue required to stock up on pot noodles for the winter.
Yes.
But whichever way you look at it, these PSAs have certainly pulled no punches in labelling piracy as a truly heinous crime, which should probably be punishable by live.
You wouldn't
public
download a car. You
execution.
can't say that now,
One of the
bitch.
most comically outrageous.
We have 3D printers that we download and then we print out cars.
Car was co-produced by the Motion Picture Association and the Federation Against Copyright Theft in 2004. It's the you wouldn't download a car is better because then you could just be like, yeah, I would. I think the actual campaign was you wouldn't steal a car, and downloading music is stealing or whatever. So it was actually better than a lot of people think, because it's been rewritten a little bit, but it's still, come on. It was produced by the Motion Picture Association and the Federation Against Copyright Theft in 2004, but has become deeply immersed in quite a few myths since then. For starters, the short film, which was annoyingly slapped onto the beginning of just about every single DVD
Oh, it
ever
was.
commercially released during this period. Yeah, it drove me nuts, because you'd buy a DVD and it'd be like whatever the soundtrack was. You'd be like, just let me watch the Matrix! Why do I have to sit through this shit? Where if you pirate the Matrix, it's going to be just a better experience. Not that I would know, having never done that.
I'm going to sue you out of existence.
The Matrix was the first DVD that I ever bought. This was just a satirical line which first popped up on Reddit a few years later in a thread which mocked the overdramatic nature of the original film. It would clearly have been a ridiculous statement to make. Who wouldn't download a car if for free if it was possible? I don't drive, and I'd still download a car for free if only for a bit of extra storage space for beer. But the real PSA was ridiculous enough in itself. The fast-paced, over-stylized, shaky footage feels like a trailer for a terrible British show that never made it past the pilot episode. The viewer is quickly guided through a visual headache of different criminal activities, whilst a voice proclaims with sinister authority, "You wouldn't steal a car, you wouldn't steal a handbag, you wouldn't steal a television. Downloading pirated films is stealing.
crime.
Stealing is against the law." Another long-running myth is that the music in the background was used without permission of the composer, and thus was itself effectively pirated. Whilst I'd love to believe that that's true, it's sadly just a bit of a mix-up. The Dutch composer Melchior Rietveld did indeed once find himself embroiled in a legal battle over unlicensed usage of his music, but that has nothing to do with this PSA. Critics of the film have pointed to the heavy-handed nature of the message, which seems to imply that copying a file onto a disc is just as bad as violently mugging a woman and leaving her for dead on the pavement.
Oh yeah, totally. The government steal our money all the time. Yes.
But a wider issue is that the PSA was fundamentally useless on so many levels and may even have worked against the Motion Picture Association. People are just like, now I'm going to do that. You have to consider what kind of viewer was actually absorbing this material. In all likelihood, it wasn't anyone watching an illegally copied DVD, as those involved in mass piracy tended to remove films like this from the discs. Public service is what I'd call that.
That's what taxes are.
It's not coffee. That's a waste cup.
So the only viewers who were having to tolerate such films were the ones who had legally purchased their DVDs. And it does seem a bit stinky that having shelled out good money for a movie, the first thing thrust in your face is a commercial which seems to be accusing you of being a potential criminal who is destined to burn in hell alongside murderers.
Well, that's my flash drive. Don't look at it unless you want to see Big D. Don't tase me. That just stings. You do it!
Later studies into the matter also came to the surprising conclusion that this film, along with many others of its ilk, also only ever served to increase piracy. It's always been a bit of a tricky thing for corporate giants to get the public on board with the idea that watching a pirated movie is going to bring down billion-dollar industries. One Indian campaign completely missed the mark when it hired a group of multi-millionaire Bollywood superstars to plead with customers in a country rife with poverty to pay full whack for movies instead of watching free copies. The main problem with the You Wouldn't Steal a Car film, quite aside from the wholly unconvincing comparisons between downloading films and car theft, which are only going to make viewers snort with derision into their popcorn, is that it appeared to normalize piracy in a way. The film seems to suggest that everyone out there is getting away with illegally downloading movies in blind ignorance that it's a serious crime, much like armed robbery. Yeah. No, but it's not like that. You don't do armed robbery and then you're like, oh no, wait, this is illegal? This is what, when people said they're going to the bank, I thought this is what they meant, to get money. And this only encourages largely law-abiding citizens to
I mean,
shrug their
Torton was
shoulders
like
and
a
jump
huge
on the
thing.
pirate ship, particularly when the film is making such an overblown drama out of everything. Not every cash-strapped creative deprived of revenue tends to agree with the tactics of their corporate overlords anyway. The controversial punk band The Dead Kennedys, who entertained us with such lovely ditties as Too Drunk to Kill the Poor and Let's Lynch the Landlord, left an Kill the Poor and Let's Lynch the Landlord seem to be sending very opposite messages. Left an unusual message imprinted on the reverse side of their cassette release of In God We Trust, Inc. in 1981. God, they were good at naming, they weren't.
Oh,
they?
yeah, it still
The top of
is.
The cassette bore the thought-provoking slogan, "Home taping is killing record industry profits." The words at the bottom of the cassette read, "I left this side blank so you can help."
Wow.
Just.
I mean, I'm just not a big
Mwah.
person that does it.
This final disturbing entry from 2005 was only deemed fit for a post-Watershed Belgian audience and was never transmitted anywhere else in the world. Admittedly, it doesn't look that disturbing during the opening few moments. In fact, it looks pretty much like a typical joyful day in Smurfland, presented in the style of the classic 80s animated series. The sun is shining, the rabbits are hopping, the butterflies are fluttering, and the Smurfs themselves are singing and dancing around the campfire. A Belgian viewer, at the time, might have presumed that this was just an oddly timed trailer for another rerun of a 20-year-old cartoon series. But then, the bombs start raining from the sky. Okay? It appears that the enchanting Smurf village has just become the latest target for an airstrike, as the Smurf huts are bombed to oblivion and the little blue creatures run around in sheer
Yes,
terror.
allegedly.
We see the dead body of Smurfette lying face down on the ground. By the end of the 30-second Smurf massacre, only Baby Smurf is still clinging to life as he sits alone in a scene of rubble and smoke.
What is
and
going
dismembered
on?
Smurf body parts whilst wailing inconsolably at the sky. What the message are you trying to send, Belgian authorities? Closing caption reads, "Don't let war destroy the world of children," before the shell-shocked viewers are invited to pledge a donation to UNICEF.
What?
Just no. Don't do that. It's not good. This was no cheap, unofficial Smurfs knockoff. The campaign was quite staggeringly fully approved by the estate of Belgium Smurfs creator Peyo. The film was produced by UNICEF, and it was intended to raise awareness and funds for the rehabilitation of ex-child soldiers in the former Belgian colonies of Burundi, Rwanda, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And whilst some might consider the whole concept of blowing up beloved children's characters to be bizarre or a tasteless method of raising funds for a tragic cause, it seems that the campaign was judged a resounding success. Philip Hennon, a spokesperson for UNICEF Belgium, pointed out that viewers have become somewhat desensitized images depicting real
Don't worry, I'm
children
confused
suffering
too.
in real war zones. The idea behind this Smurfs film was to try and tap into the innocent childhood memories of viewers and then shatter that innocence in the most shocking way imaginable.
Now that's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
Well,
Thanks,
you
Wanda.
Did that, to be honest. And fair play, it worked. If something like this had been produced in America, I imagine we'd all have seen Care Bears hanging limply from trees or Barney the dinosaur treading on a landmine. And that's where we end today's video. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.
I think we have time for one more video, and then I'm going to head off because you know what? History's dumbest internet challenges. I'm on the
Can't
internet. Oh,
imagine that-
wait, that's right. You sent something. Is that the same thing you sent before? That I got lost.
Yo, my mans sent me this video, and I kid you not, this got.
Oh.
Yo, my mans sent.
I will watch that off stream with Ryu.
that you could keep it in. There's a running joke on this channel that Simon, that's me, the host, the other writers, and I, that's Kevin who wrote this, are creatively bankrupt.
Because I might not watch the whole thing,
Why
that's
would
why.
you say that, Kevin? Is it because whenever we make a video and it does well, we make basically that same video over and over again? Is that why, Kevin? Yeah. Excuse me. Probably is. While it's true that we will inevitably make a
The reason why is because
performs well, that's just capitalism, baby. Not only will we make a sequel, but we will make the sequel after the
Okay,
sequel
I can't
after
pause.
the sequel. Look.
I can't pause with little. I have problems with the whole 600-pound life thing because I get physically angry. I've dealt with weight issues and still deal with weight issues. But when I see, it's like, but you are not that bad? No, I'm not that bad. Well, I mean, no. But it's just, I get angry for the fact that you can see, like, how do you get to that point? Or how come no one has intervened? Or, like getting help? Good to hear she's getting healthy again. Like, I'm... What do you mean again? I've always been on the bigger side. But the problem is with me, it's a mix of genetics / having mental health issues. But it's, again, also medication. But the problem is, like, it's for people who aren't helping themselves or enabling it. Like, I just get, like, very angry about that. Because when you because I forget which commentary YouTuber I was watching about it. It's the fact that this person did the surgery with Dr. Now. I think it was 600, my 600-pound life. And they had to go in this program they had to lose so much weight before they had surgery. And they were being on this diet, but he kept gaining weight and they couldn't figure out why. But it turns out his wife or his mother was bringing him food in. It's like, excuse me, it's like, you're here for a reason. Like, how... It's just like, you want them to get better so they don't die. / you want them to have a better life, yet you're not helping the situation. Yes, I can say that confidently because, yes, it is hard to change your habits and change your whole lifestyle, but it's possible. You just have to have a better support system. You have to get everyone around you to be in on it, which is why I think it's a show I watch a lot, Intervention. You have these addicts. Now, I'm not judging and I'm not going by personal experience, but you have these addicts who they have the family and the intervention person will say, I'm not doing this unless you set these hard lines and you're going to stick with them. And sometimes the family does, sometimes they don't. And you always see the addicts getting better when they get out of the situation / find people who are supportive. And I think that's the biggest thing is, like, you need a good support system if you ever want to change anything. Anyway, back to a happier note. Let's watch more dumb internet challenges. Yeah! I can go on a whole rant about family saying they support you and then just backstabbing you in the back. If you want, I can record a whole video about the situation that I dealt with my quote unquote family that is left. I was debating actually making a video just for like my records, just to like put like how I felt and how things changed, like how I will say that I have definitely been changed by that experience in both good and bad ways. Do it when you have 3D. Look, I don't know when I'm having 3D. 3D is probably going to be like towards the end of the year. Because I plan to make my model myself to put that 3D animation degree to use. That's right, I didn't get my degree. I was close. Back to Simon.
Hollywood has shown us
dumb
that
internet
there's no
challenge.
point coming up with new ideas. All you need to do is take the ideas from the past and make a follow-up, even if it's been decades later, or better yet, just keep making them over and over again. Like,
sorry, I'm
You don't
clearing
even have to come up with new
notifications on my phone.
characters. Take the characters to some old comic books, throw them in a movie, throw them all in a movie, make 10 of those movies, make them barely comprehensible. Done. You got to give the people what they want, and if it's good enough for Hollywood, god damn, Kevin and I are on the same page so often. Then it's good enough for us. Besides,
Is it those licking
if
random
those of us
things
that
in
produce
Pandemic?
content for a living are
I don't know.
creatively bankrupt, what does that say about the rest of you? You're all a bunch of no talent hacks with without a creative bone in your bodies. That's what. Steady, Kevin. Steady. That's not what I'm saying. As the host of this show, those words would never come out of my mouth, despite what I think inside. Never mind. And this is why internet challenges are so popular. One person has an idea that gets millions of views, and suddenly everyone on the internet thinks that they're going to be the next Addison Rae or Zach King. Who are these people? Zach King is the magician dude, right? Who the fuck's Addison Rae? I've heard of her. I have no idea what she does because I'm truly out of touch with culture. Hello, everybody. Have you ever found yourself?
Yes,
in
I
the
don't
age-old
need sheath
dilemma?
underwear,
Boxers
Simon.
too loose, briefs
I
too
don't
tight?
have
Well, worry no
balls.
more because
Thank
of
you.
the official video. Unfortunately, most of the time, these challenges are stupid, dangerous, or both. So let's take a look at some of the dumbest
Contrary
internet
to what
challenges of all
some
time.
people may think.
Cheese challenge.
Cheesed?
I know everybody in the comments loves it when Simon goes off on tangents about his kids, so allow me to trigger one of those tangents for you.
You can buy them for
Let's see. My sister
No.
is 10.5 years younger than me, which Kevin wrote as 10.5 years, which is a weird way of
Ryu doesn't wear those
addressing,
kind.
like saying that. I'm 37.7. No, I'm not. I'm 36.7-ish. I'm 37 this year. My sister is 10.5 years younger than me, which meant that I got to spend a larger portion of my preteen years than I would have liked changing diapers and feeding her. Anyone that's ever fed and subsequently been vomited on by a baby knows that their spit kind of looks like curdled milk.
Ryu would be happy if they have that picture on them.
It smells
Probably
like
not.
curdled milk.
Nasty.
It's gross. So instead of saying that my little sister spit up something, my family would say that she cheesed it. Kevin.
Ew.
Because I know that smell. Because I just know that texture.
I've never been barfed on by a baby, thankfully. That's because I don't babysit like little kids. For reasons.
That's so visceral for me, Kevin. It makes me feel sick. My kids, now 4 and 2, no longer in nappies, no longer throwing up milk, no longer breastfeeding, and it's awesome. My kid, we have a little indoor swing in our playroom, and my kid was like, spin me, dad, spin me, dad, spin me. So much that they eventually just were sick. They just like, just threw up all over this. I had to like take it's like a hammock swing thing. I had to take it off and wash it. It was disgusting.
It's bad enough cleaning up kitty vomit.
I've ever heard in my entire life. That's insane. Can I hear it again?
In 2019, it seems that parents had finally endured enough of this, and it was time for babies to get cheesed as revenge. Parents began filming themselves
clean up
throwing
kitty vomit like
slices of
almost
American
every day.
cheese onto their babies' faces.
What? Why are you throwing
Sharing
cheese on
videos
babies?
social media, and they are all absolutely amazing. There's weird. First of all, the reaction from every child is the same, no matter what they were doing beforehand. Regardless of whether the baby was laughing or crying, the second the cheese slice landed on their face, they became silent and motionless.
I mean,
Sometimes
I don't
babies
blame the
pulled
kids.
it off and threw it, sometimes they ate it, and sometimes they just sat in stunned silence for what seemed like an eternity, but it was entertaining every single time.
I would be offended if someone threw cheese on
I've
me.
never seen this before. Now you might be asking yourself, what's the catch? This is a video about dumb internet challenges, and all I've done is say how hysterical these videos are. Could it be something to do with the cheese not being good for the kids or something like that? I don't know. There's specific things about what kids can eat. Apparently, babies can't eat honey. Like,
Yeah, I didn't know that
remember having
babies
a
couldn't
baby
have
for the
honey.
first time, and they're like, no honey for a year, and you're like, honey? What's wrong with honey?
You know nothing.
There's nothing inherently dangerous about this challenge, as far as I can tell. No children were ever injured. I can't say that it's a waste of food, because half the time, the baby ate the cheese. Oh my god, if you want to talk about wasted food and kids, it's like a half the food is wasted. Like, since having kids, the amount of waste that my family produce has gone up exponentially. It's crazy.
I can see Ryu throwing a whole wheel of cheese.
Food packages, just
I can
food
see him
in
eating a
general
whole
that
wheel
they're
of
like,
cheese.
Dad, I want pasta for dinner. And you give them pasta. It's like, I don't want pasta. I said, well, you're not getting anything else.
I will
And they're
say,
like,
I
don't
was
eat it.
also a very
You're like, for fuck's sake.
picky child.
Daddy, chill.
And even if they didn't like it, like I said, these were pre-wrapped slices of American cheese that barely qualifies as food in the first place. When it was just parents having fun with their kids and also magically getting them to stop crying, everything was fine. If a bit weird. But then dumbass teenagers on TikTok got involved and
Oh,
updated the
God.
meaning of the cheese challenge. Suddenly,
did the
new
teenagers
challenge was
do?
to throw slices of cheese onto people's cars. Not only is this stupid and unfunny, it is potentially criminal. Yeah,
Why?
this seems dangerous, because if you're just driving along and a slice of cheese lands on your windscreen, you're gonna be like, whoa! And then most of the time you'll be like, oh, that's fine.
Why
okay,
the
that's weird,
fuck you
carry
throw
on."
cheese? That's
But
a waste
someone's
of
gonna be
cheese.
distracted enough by that, and it's going to happen at the wrong time, and they're going to have a car crash and die. While the risk of the car is pretty low, cheese is still slightly acidic. How acidic varies depending on the type of cheese, and if it sits on the car for long enough, it can corrode the paint.
What?
Wow, okay, this took a different turn than I expected.
Cheese?
There are reports of people discovering thousands of dollars in damage to their
damn.
car as a result of the cheese challenge.
The
but
cheese
that is
touch.
the exception,
Yeah,
not
forget the
the
Midas
rule.
touch. Forget
For
the
most people,
cheese
it was
touch.
just a mild inconvenience. But when there are damages involving a person's car, a person can be charged with vandalism. But hey, at least cheesing someone's car is less damaging than egging it. Is it? What do eggs do to a car?
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Banana and Sprite challenge. I'm a big fan of caffeine. Me too, Kevin. But we've already established on this channel that coffee tastes like the inside of my arse.
What do nightmares taste like anyway?
That's a lie, Kevin. You lying son of... As such, I pretty much always have a bottle of Diet Coke with me. Love Diet Coke.
I love Diet
even
Coke.
keep a
Remember the
six-pack
forbidden
of driving
cheese?
sodas in my car at all times because I'm a thirsty bitch.
That is correct.
That was so out of pocket that I don't even know what to say. I'm a thirsty bitch.
I am a
also,
thirsty
dude, on
bitch.
those
I always make
drinks
sure
that you,
there's
like,
water in the
want
car.
all the time.
I'm thirsty.
Naturally,
Diary of
this
a
is-
Wimpy Kid?
and also
Oh,
when
okay.
it's
I
not
didn't
in the
read that.
freeze, like, I had a bottle of water in my car in like the middle of winter, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take a sip, and it was just frozen solid because it was really cold. Naturally, this meant I always had a bottle with me in class at college as well. This was all well and good until I went on a bit of a Mentos kick. Once they're inside your stomach, it's fine. But one day in accounting class, I absentmindedly took a sip of my soda while still chewing a Mentos.
No.
Oh my god, Kevin, what are you doing? This is not going to go well for you. I hadn't been expecting it, but as soon as I felt the reaction starting, I realized what was about to happen in my mouth.
I might
had
watch
to
it.
Immediately clamp both hands over my mouth to prevent the white foam from erupting everywhere. Wait, that's not gonna work. The pressure's gonna be way too much.
I don't know, it
and
might
yes,
work.
this is a real thing that my dumbass did. But there's a far more. Wait, did this actually work? I can't imagine that you could keep it in. Like, that Mentos in Coke is intense. But there is a far more dangerous combination of foods I could have combined, and it's one of the oldest internet challenges of all time. There are references to the Banana and Sprite challenge online dating back to at least 2000, so for all I know, this could even predate the internet. I've never heard of this. What's wrong with Banana and Sprite? The premise of the challenge is simple. Quickly eat 2 bananas and then down an entire liter of Sprite. Sounds simple enough, except the results are almost invariably the same. Immediate vomiting. The fact that this continues to go viral every few years, even though we all know what's going to happen, is astonishing. I'm genuinely surprised that the internet hasn't had the Ipecac challenge yet. I know this is a reference to a past video, but I don't remember what it is. I'm like trying to rack my brains being like, there was some dumb challenge that Kevin came up with and I don't remember it. So why do bananas and Sprite react in this way? The topic has been debated for decades, and the answer has generally been accepted as a chemical process between the banana and the Sprite. When your body warms carbonated beverages in the stomach, the carbon dioxide gets released from the liquid beverage as a gas. These molecules then bind with the protein molecules being broken down from the banana, creating a foam-like substance that is too thick to be expelled with a mere burp. Because the average stomach is only 500 mils, about 2 cups. Thank you for putting the metric in there, Kevin, because cups that's a weird measurement. There just is too much foam and it has to be expelled by vomiting. You know, because fruit is notoriously high in protein.
Huh?
Wait, what? Fruit's not high in protein, is it? And because nobody has ever had a burger and soda in the same meal, there's no way for us to expect the reaction of protein and carbonation.
Totally.
Wait, okay, I see. So someone saying like it reacts with protein, that's like what the internet explanation is. And the half-liter stomach also felt wrong because an adult stomach is actually 1,500 mils or 6 cups, as Kevin just tells me. So that's that we're debunking the explanation. Of course, there haven't been any scientific studies on the matter because it's stupid and pointless, so this bizarre pseudoscientific explanation continues to get passed around. In reality, the reason doing this makes a person vomit is because they're a f***ing idiot. I just reckon they're just consuming too much stuff. It's just too much gas. Right? The challenge is to consume 2 bananas and drink a liter of Sprite as quickly as possible, and that volume is about enough to fill an adult stomach. The part about CO2 gas being released and expanding is the one part of the explanation that was actually true, and that is what results in the stomach needing to be emptied. But it has nothing to do with a specific chemical reaction, and eating any large quantity of food can have this same effect on a person. But science and stuff aside, why are challenges like this actually popular? Who sits down at their computer and thinks, I want to watch some wannabe influencer vomit today? And how are there enough people like that to account for millions of views that these
that is
videos
true.
get?
Like, why would you want to watch something like that?
Weird. It happens. I'm even thinking, like, should I try that for views?
Do it.
Because that's how I know it's stupid and broken. Bird Box Challenge.
Oh my god, that was like the stupidest challenge
For anybody
ever.
who hasn't seen Bird Box, which includes me. Wait, isn't that the one about... Isn't that the one... It's got Sandra Bullock in it. The premise of the movie is pretty simple. You need to keep a blindfold on at all times or you will die. Oh yeah, this was creepy. There's a whole story involving demons and it honestly sounds like something I'm glad I didn't watch.
That guy's a wuss.
Yeah, what are you doing up there?
That was the premise. The movie released worldwide on Netflix on December the 21st, 2018. By January 2nd, Netflix had to tweet the following: "Can't believe I have to say this, but please do not hurt yourselves with this Bird Box challenge. We don't know how this started, and we appreciate the love, but we have just one wish for 2019, and that's that you don't end up in hospital due to memes."
I almost forgot my butterfly clip.
Hospital due to memes or internet challenges.
That's
Yeah, but
always
no.
the thing.
But sadly,
What's Bird Box? Oh, it was a movie
However,
on Netflix.
there is one issue with that
Watching
statement.
my bird right
Netflix's
now.
official statement said, "We don't know how this got started." So allow me to remind them about their own ad
I was gonna say,
campaign
can you
just
not-
a few weeks before that tweet. Leading up to the release of the movie,
Be careful you don't
Netflix
knock 'em
tricked
out.
4 Twitch streamers in Australia and mailed them each a box containing a blindfold, a pair of walkie-talkies, a bell, fishing line, and for some reason, chocolate Pop-Tarts. If they wanted to send the streamers a random snack, that's fine. But just
why
so
the
we're
fuck
on the
the
same page here, strawberry Pop-Tarts are the top-tier flavor, and everybody who disagrees is patently incorrect.
I don't like those chocolate Pop-Tarts.
Very same breakfast pastry that I was consuming at that moment.
I don't think I've ever
I
had Pop-Tart. They're
like
just not a European
my
thing. Not something I grew
s'mores
up with in the
Pop-Tarts.
UK. Netflix's challenge to these streamers was simple. They had to complete part of the game they streamed while blindfolded, though they could take directions from another person. They were then supposed to encourage other gamers to try and beat their performances and show off their results using the hashtag
Sorry, I was making sure
Challenge. Once the Netflix
What is a
sponsored
Canadian
streamers
fat
and the
cake?
subsequent hashtag
What?
that Netflix requested they used took off,
Hello,
this
Naki,
challenge exploded to
welcome.
epic proportions, and yet Netflix
How was the
somehow seemed to have
forest?
forgotten all about this a couple of weeks later when they claimed to have no idea how it started. Anyway, most of the challenge videos were pretty innocuous. It was people trying to do everyday tasks while blindfolded with hilarious results. For the most part, they were simple things like walking to your desk or pouring a drink. It was the
These
sort of stuff
nuts,
where if it
yes.
went wrong, it probably wasn't going to be that big a deal. Please don't. Immediately, I'm jumping to mind of people like driving blindfolded.
I can see the future.
Do you not know what it is? No.
With the passenger like shouting directions.
I actually never I played the forest, but we didn't really do story. Me and Ryu just
not what I read next.
caused chaos.
How stupid this challenge was going to be was entirely up to the people who took part in it and how stupid they were. And in the immortal words of George Carlin, think of how stupid the average person is.
Oh, I
and
love
realize
George
half of
Carlin.
them are stupider than that. Yeah, it's like for all like because IQ is an
Let me go
average
in my
of 100.
incognito mode.
For all the smart people I know, there is someone who is as dumb as that person is smart. Like I've got a friend who's like wicked smart, and I'm thinking like, whoa, you're very smart, but that means there's someone out there with an IQ of 50. If he's like at 150, and then that person's at 50.
I think it's real.
That's like, I don't know anyone with that low. Like that's really dumb.
Oh.
Naturally, it didn't take long for one of those profoundly moronic people to get a hold of the hashtag and
They're
try
called
to go viral.
snowballs.
A 17-year-old girl in Utah decided to take part in the Bird Box Challenge while driving a car. No! She pulled down her beanie over her eyes so she could drive blind, and I guess her 16-year-old passenger
I've
was
never
supposed to
heard
be
them
giving her
called
instructions.
fat shades. That's
It
because they're
ended
probably
exactly
snowballs
as
here.
you would expect, with the girl immediately drifting into the next lane, hitting another car, and then crashing into a wall.
An idiot.
Shockingly, nobody was injured, at least not during the crash. Utah is very much a yeehaw state, and the only state to execute a prisoner by firing squad in the last 50 years, which is what happened to her. No, I'm just joking.
Man, what are you doing? That shit ain't funny. You're ruining it for me.
Just joking. But they did last execute someone by firing squad in 2010. Needless to say,
What?
I'm sure the girl's parents gave her more than a stern talking to after she got home from destroying what I'm sure was actually their car and not hers. November. November is a big month for internet challenges. It's National
you
Novel
can't go in
Writing
there.
Month, in which participants are challenged to write a 50,000-word novel in a month. It's also Movember, a month-long charity event in which men
how's
grow
that
moustaches
dumb?
to raise money and awareness for men's health issues like prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and men's suicide. Those are all well and good, and they have noble intentions. However, there's another challenge that takes place
But
that
what's the
month.
dumb
and one whose
challenge?
goal, ironically, runs counter to Movember's goal of stopping prostate cancer. What is it? November! Do cancerous things!
Do cancerous.
Do you feel them?
Oh, no, not November. Ah.
I'm, of course, talking about No Nut November. Oh, yeah, no, I have heard of this. Men are challenged not to masturbate or have sex for an entire month of November.
No!
Technically, I never understand this. Like, you see this sometimes, people are like,
Yeah, I'm retaining my semen.
why? Why? There's no science behind that.
Yeah, like
And
why?
I'm sure your wife/girlfriend or your right hand doesn't appreciate that.
Dangly part.
They're lonely. Or partner, whatever. I don't mind. And you're not. Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
I mean,
Technically,
it's
women are allowed to take part as well, but this challenge is specifically targeted
saving
as men.
it. Like, I
began in
mean, your
2011
body
as a
just
joke,
reabsorbs
but a
it, so
massive
you're
group of
not
people now take
like
it entirely
getting
too
a
serious.
positive by not.
Although, to be fair, if even one person
splooshying.
took part in this challenge, that would be too many people taking it seriously. There's more to this than just me taking a very pro-orgasm stance as well. According to multiple studies, refusing to ejaculate may actually be detrimental to your health, or more accurately, frequent ejaculation may benefit your health.
12 seconds later.
Yes! Admittedly, these have predominantly been small-scale studies, so the research hasn't been as rigorous as the activities people are inexplicably choosing to abstain from. So
What's
what exactly is it
DDD?
that makes No Nut November such a dumb idea? Well, to start, there's the epididymal hypertension.
Dimitri's
also known as
getting all
blue balls. It's a
sciencey.
painful and uncomfortable experience, and there's no reason to
Science!
spend an entire month willingly inviting
Destroy
blue
D
balls into
December.
your life. Of course, as painful as the experience can be, it's just temporary discomfort that is ultimately harmless, and don't let a guy try to coerce you by claiming otherwise. But there are other benefits to ejaculation besides just avoiding blue balls. Aside from feeling great, studies indicate that it helps manage stress, relieve pain, strengthen your immune system, reduce high blood pressure, and improve overall heart health.
How's
Again,
it
most of the
boost
studies
you-
surrounding
boost
this
your
were pretty
immune
limited
system?
in scope. However, the famous Harvard ejaculation study that ran from 1992 through 2000 was a large-scale study. Harvard tracked the ejaculation habits of 30,000 men for 8 years.
My marriage is falling apart, and I've been masturbating the hentai because I'm lonely and unable to connect with real people.
Questionnaire not following them around.
I need
And
to
the
give
results were
chat
pretty
glasses for
definitive.
when
After
Dimitri
trying to account
gives
for every
explanations
plausible
for
statistical
things.
anomaly, the researchers concluded that frequent ejaculation can decrease a man's risk of prostate cancer by over 30%.
What?
Yes, science!
How did they define frequent, you ask?
Science!
Harvard scientists recommended that whether it's through sex or masturbation, men should ejaculate at least 21 times per month.
Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Excuse me. 21 times a month? That's like almost every day. I don't know about... I was going to say, when do you have time?
That feels like quite a lot. And for anyone wondering, all of those previously mentioned health benefits apply for women as well, except obviously for reducing the chance of prostate cancer. Did Kevin mean another type of cancer for women? Do women have prostates? I don't think so.
Some
right?
do it dailies before
Must be a
sleeping?
typo.
Oh, well, yeah.
Now, I don't know what sort of cancer it would help women with, but yay! Now, realistically, 1 month of abstinence isn't going to have any real negative effects on your health. I assume, anyway, there aren't any studies covering that. However, the alleged benefits simply don't exist. Proponents of No Nut November claim it will result in increased happiness, heightened spirituality, mental clarity, and more.
You sound
I mean,
None of
you
that's
could be
true,
like that
and the
one
only
person
evidence seems to
who
be one
drinks
episode of
their
Seinfeld
own
where they see who can go the longest without ejaculating, and George suddenly becomes a
ejaculate
genius.
for
It's also
some sort of weird
Seinfeld's
health benefit.
not where you should go for your science. It's also worth noting.
No, don't come back to
there are
this!
claims that
Do
the
not come
entire
back
challenge
into
is
this
brought to by the far
conversation.
right as well. And there are far too many advocates of the challenge sending death threats to sex workers, so that's fun. What the f*** is going on in the world?
That's like the worst time to come back in.
Happy slapping sounds like it would be the opposite of No Nut November. Very nice, Kevin.
Happy slapping.
But it's something far more sinister. It began in England around 2004 and quickly spiraled out of control. Even if you've never heard the term before, it probably sounds quite familiar. People, usually teenagers, would film themselves on their phone assaulting random people, often in the form of a hard slap. I have to say, I do very
just
vaguely
randomly
remember this.
slaps?
However, most of these videos never actually made it onto the internet. Instead, teens would send the video from one flip phone to another using Bluetooth or possibly even infrared. Back in the day, because technology was in the past. Eventually, compilation videos would get posted on sites like Eambalm's World, and everything just kind of went from there. Technically, this was more of a fad than an internet challenge, but it was still the same sort of vibe.
Sierra, if you did...
People saw something online, and they wanted to go viral by repeating what they'd seen. Unfortunately for those idiots trying to get famous by randomly assaulting people, the only ones to receive any real notoriety
I'll be right back.
were those that were convicted as a result of their actions. Excellent! As they should be. And there are a lot of them. You'd assume that these were all assault charges, but you'd sadly be wrong.
It explains
There are
why I'm
dozens of
so
cases
fucking
where
hot!
People were convicted of murder
The fan
as
was
a result
off!
of happy slapping videos that were shared. I suppose because if you slap someone, you can foresee the intention of GBH, grievous bodily harm, and if they die from that slap, that is murder.
Very warm here.
Which is intense. That is what you all came to Blame Braze. That is what you all came to Brain Blaze for, right? When you clicked on this video about dumb internet challenges, you were definitely expecting to hear about people being murdered. Oh yeah, there was even a contestant who was kicked off the British version of X Factor after a video of her happy slapping another girl went viral, though at least she didn't kill anybody. But on the bright side, it wasn't just the people who were being targeted in the videos that wound up getting injured. In one happy slapping incident, 8 teens decided they were going to attack a 31-year-old man inside a mall. What they didn't realize was this man was an amateur boxer who was fully prepared to lay them the f*** out.
You just brought piss to a fight, you little...
That is the Two of the teens wound up hospitalized and 4 were arrested for assault. Although the term happy slapping is rarely used anymore by people making these videos, largely because of its connection to kids getting arrested for murder, like this continues to happen all the time. It was basically YouTube prank videos in the days before YouTube, and the pranks were significantly more lethal. And of all the bizarre ways this story could have ended, it's with a movie.
Oh, imperialism.
Canadian filmmaker Christos Sarligas wrote and directed a film called Happy Slapping, in which a group of teenagers tried to get internet famous by filming themselves doing stupid shit.
For about 2 weeks, not glorping, but
just like the real trend,
soon goes back down to normal levels, but quickly after.
Of course, the whole story leaves me with one question that I need to pose to all of the hooligans that
you're a
took
man,
part
you
in
need to
this
fight.
trend. You want to get internet famous by filming yourself slapping random people on the street. Fine. I mean, it's not fine, but I can understand why a dumbass kid would think that it's a good idea. But if something goes wrong and the random assault
I love that
turns into
explanation.
murder, why the f
Never clapping
would you
cheats again.
upload that video? Which is an excellent question. Kids are Stupid, I think, is the answer. And that's where we end today's video. Thanks for being here.
Kids are fucking stupid. Okay, one more video. I lied. One more.
As a general rule.
What do you mean, watch this? Watch what? Watch what? How much? Just so you know, Akiver, you sent me a picture of the cake. Just so you are aware.
Hey guys. Hey, got the
Oh, is this the sure strumming thing? Fermented fish. Ugh. Yuck. Yuck.
Hey guys. Hey, got the
Herring.
challenge. Yeah, see how this goes.
Could you stop being a
It's like I
dick?
said, pay attention to Gaz because he's the worst one. Look at that face.
Just like that, spitting out. No. You smell it? Yeah. Oh, you dirty. I smell.
I can't smell it. Oh, that's bad, isn't it?
How much stuff do I need to block you? The cat.
Mine's Warren.
It's not bothering me, that. You open it then. But you won't open it. No, I don't open it. No.
Did they even open it?
Oh, it's bad, that.
That is the worst thing I've ever smelled in my life.
Well, here's the thing. Like, most of your sense of taste is smell. Are more of a rationalist? Yes, I agree. I concur.
Oh, God, that is bad.
Okay. I just realized there are some people who the sound of someone heaving makes them throw up. So I apologize if that's you. Oh, I read that other paragraph. the lizard caveman brain, it's great. It's eat, sleep, sets, that's it. Ew. Durian is stinky. I never had durian. I know it's stinky. But isn't it supposed to be... Oh, the one about imperialism? Empirism? Yeah, I've seen that. Which is very... weird how that's, like, the one view. I did this with 2 friends. Did you? Is it that bad? It looks yummy. You can't even see it. It's in a plastic bag. They started to almost throw up and so on. Of course. I mean... Oh, they just have it, like, on a fish. They don't even have it in a can. Well, here's the thing. Like, if you're not... Hello? The hell happened there? Mono is angry because what the heck happened? What is going on? Why? What? What is going on? Browser crash? Probably. Okay, I don't know what happened, why that thing just died. The computer's like, I don't want to deal with it. It's like, you can't make me. Apparently. I'm fine. I'm alive. The browser got scared by fish. Hello, Cody. Welcome. Hopefully you are doing good. Hopefully better than these people. Also, it's kind of a good thing they're doing this outside, because can you imagine if you got this stink in your house? The regular ears of your model are so good. Oh, thank you. It's done by Goro. She, oh my god. He also did, Teacher / Sailor Layla. I just really, I am happy. I will say my ears are also my favorite part of my model. That's like the one thing I told him I wanted. I'm like, make sure my ears are nice. No, Dad! No, Dad! Dad is trying to eat it? Oh, ew. You want to touch them, your fluffy? Yes, with my listening cotton. Yes. Oh my god, poor Dad.
Is it worse in your mouth?
Oh my god. No! Can you imagine accidentally spilling it on your floor? Cotton helps dampen the sound, loud sounds. Yes. It's how I, well, it doesn't dampen. It increases.
You can't do it.
It's like the Powerpuff Girl, cursed Powerpuff Girl photo. You just zoom in and it's a bunch of little ears. I'm not doing this with Ryu. Now that we share the same house, no. That's the last thing I need.
Right, stop it. Stop it. Can't do it.
Oh, good lord.
Alright, hey guys.
I don't even know where we'd find that, to be
I
completely
try
honest.
to avoid, wherever possible, speaking ill of the dead. That's Dave, not me. I'll speak ill of the dead all the time. I hate the dead. Douchebags. That's what happens here. Dave writes it, I read it. That's the format of the show. Obviously, there are a few notable exceptions. These include, in no particular order, Jeffrey Epstein, Jimmy Savile, and Tim, the old man who lived down the street for me when I was a kid, and he was, to put it bluntly, a prick. Given those two people you named, Jimmy Savile and Jeffrey Epstein, I'm like, Dave, did this man touch you? Which, I don't know, it's not a joke. Oh god, what if he actually means that? Now I joke of it. I'm a gross person.
Look, you can talk about your needless shame later.
Just before we continue with today's video, I do want to tell you about our fantastic sponsor, Keeps. Now, look, as you can all
Evil
tell, I know
panties!
a thing or two about male pattern baldness. My hair ran for the hills about 10 years ago, and it's not coming back. However, I'm pretty confident that if I had Keeps back in the day,
I don't know if you guys need Keeps, but Keeps is highly recommended.
Still played outside, it is just possible that your street may have had a Tim as well. Tim would do things like spreading drawing pins, thumbtacks for a merit. Wait, you call it drawing pins?
What the fuck are drawing pins?
What's that got to
drawing
do with
pins.
thumbs or
What's
tap?
Keeps? It's to help your male pattern baldness. It's to help you keep your hair follicles.
Although what's it got to do with drawing, to be honest? Weird. Thumbtacks. Who would have known? Across the pathway outside his house to puncture the bike tyres of children who rode past, put a knife through any football that made its way into his garden, and on at least one occasion called the police if he saw children climbing the trees in the local park.
Prick.
Well, all of these things are a lot less bad than the thing I imagined. So, yay, Tim!
Yeah,
As you
definitely
can
than that.
imagine, Tim was less than popular, especially among young parents who repeatedly had to spend
I feel
money
like he's
on
not suitable to
puncture repair
advertise it
kits.
just
In
with the
fact,
rock
Tim
shampoo.
was so
Well-
unpopular that every year when he went on holiday, the rest of the street would enjoy a huge party on
Simon
the green,
only
saving
really
knowledge that Tim would not
talks
be able
about
to come and
products
ruin it for
that
everybody.
he only accepts sponsorships from things he looks into and actually approves. That's why he will never
It was
do
during
something
one
for
such
Raid
party,
Shadow
a couple
Legends.
of dads who may or may
Neither
not
will
have enjoyed
I.
a few too many adult beverages hatched a plan to pay Tim back for all his little social transgressions. Yes, I would be this dad. I'll be like, let's get into some trouble.
Let's get dangerous.
I don't know why, especially if I'm like with mates who are also
Why not?
somewhat inclined to also get into trouble.
Because it's...
You know, it's the sort of shit we'd do when we were 12, but as adults, we'd just be like, yes!
Because the game sucks.
Just before he went away, Tim had been bragging to anybody who
it's
would
not-
listen about the
here's the thing.
exceptionally
It might be a
expensive
good game, but it's not a
luxury
game I'd
shag
play.
bar carpet that
So
he'd
I'm not
installed in the
gonna
downstairs
promote
of his
it.
house, and how when he got back, he was having a
Not
brand new
sponsored.
front lawn put in as well.
Totally
His
not
dad, one of whom
sponsored.
was a gardener, decided to combine these two things and provide Tim with a luscious new lawn in his downstairs hallway. Oh God!
Wait,
Are they
what?
gonna spray like shag bar carpet that he'd installed in the downstairs of his house, and how when he got back, he was having a brand new front lawn put in as well. These dads, one of whom was a gardener, decided to combine these two things and provide Tim with a luscious new lawn in his downstairs hallway. Oh God!
No.
Are they gonna spray like grass seed in through the letterbox and
No.
then water so all of the grass
Did they?
germinates? That's mwah, I love it. After spraying several kilos of grass seed through his letterbox and following that with a liberal application of water from a garden hose.
Oh my God.
Oh, you've ruined it though. That's thousands of pounds worth of damage. Not to mention whatever's happening to the boards underneath the carpets.
Oh my
Oh
God.
God.
Can you
I
imagine?
don't think I'd go this far because I'd be like, I don't want to get sued by Tim and have to pay for all of this and get a criminal record. Like, I wouldn't go that far. I'd like take a shit in his drive or something.
What?
I then went away and presumably thought very little about it until Tim
Hello,
returned
Sarka.
3 weeks
How
later.
are you?
I was not aware when he returned, but I was told that the grass had seeded very nicely and was growing in his carpet, and it took very long time to restore it to its former glory.
Oh
isn't
my
it?
God.
Like, if you got a carpet like that, that's just it. That's just it. You're
See, this
done.
is why you
It's
don't
just, also, it's
be
kinda
a
gross.
dick to
Like,
neighbors.
carpets that are like shag par, where it's like too thick. Isn't that just like asking for?
I don't
everything to
have
get
a favorite
gross and
mug.
disgusting, because you can't wash it. It's not like you can throw it in the washing machine. You have to get like a steam cleaner.
Yeah,
or
like how
something.
would you wash
I bought a
carpet?
steam cleaner to clean like
Love your tool.
curtains.
I have a
Curtains.
plastic
Like,
cup
apparently you could steam clean your curtains.
that can
And I'm like,
fall.
okay, well, let's give that a crack. And it didn't work. So I had to spend a fortune getting all my curtains sent off for like dry cleaning, which was upsetting. And then I had this steam cleaner left over, which was also
love
upsetting.
steam.
Except it turns out it's awesome. Like I got 2 young kids. They like where they had breakfast on the dining table was just like holy shit. Like that end of the dining table was just done. Like it was a wooden dining table. I'm like, we're gonna have to have that sanded down and refinished. Hell no! I took out that steam cleaner and was just like blasting that shit off there. It was like caked on Weetabix, weird bits of old melted on cheese. It was gross, and it was just
I have a mug
done.
that
You don't even
says
have to
"Let's
touch it.
kiss."
You're
Oh,
just
that's
like,
cute.
and it just gets rid of that.
I always
Steam
wanted
cleaners,
to use a
highly
power
recommended. Back to
washer.
the video.
Power washers look like so much fun.
While this particular practical joke went off without a hitch, there have been times when practical jokers have found their attempts at a harmless bit of fun have gone horribly wrong. In today's episode, we'll look at some of those. I wanted to know Tim's reaction. I want to know his reaction.
Too bad.
Contaminated
I'm
water
sorry.
supply. When better to stage an elaborate prank than on April the 1st that way? If your
I didn't
prank
mean to
upsets
blow my
anybody,
nose in the
or in
mic
this
one
case
moment.
causes a small-scale panic, you can just claim that anybody stupid enough to fall for it really should have checked the date. This appears to have been the thinking behind 2 DJs, Johnny Dare and Murphy Wells. Johnny Dare is not your real name. Who at 6 a.m. on the 1st of April announced that the water in Kansas City had been contaminated with a naturally occurring substance and was no longer fit for human consumption. The sort of thing you'd say
I'm
if you
half
were like really a
elephant.
big deal and you just had like, I don't know, shares in Evian or something, and you'd just be like, yeah, it's all ruined. So just exactly what was this naturally occurring substance? Dihydrogen monoxide. Oh, this is
You
old
mean
school, though. This is
H2O?
like, you know, it's water. It's just another way of saying H2O. The broadcasters told their listeners that prolonged exposure to this chemical
Half
could lead
elephant,
to,
half
among
crow.
other things, extreme wrinkling of the fingers and toes. Even worse than that, if you were somehow foolish enough to drink this substance, it could lead to problems such as increased urination
Oh
and
my
excessive
God.
sweating.
That is a
Wait,
prank.
drinking too much water leads to excessive sweating? Today I learned! Although they did advise their listeners not to use any of the water that came out of their taps, they did advise anybody who absolutely had to that they boil the water for long enough because it would eventually get rid of this mysterious
Oh my
substance.
god, it
It's
would!
quite clever. They're taking it far. So what's the problem? Well, for those of you who didn't pay attention in chemistry class,
Failure!
or have not been able to solve the riddle through simple deduction,
I'm
dihydrogen
smart.
monoxide is the chemical
I
name for water.
know
Yeah,
my
also
science.
spoiled it for you at the beginning,
Sort of.
didn't I?
Yeah, jackass.
That's right, these guys convinced a depressingly large number of Kansas residents that their water had been contaminated with water. According to an article in the Kansas City Star, quote, Gerald Robnett, Olathe Superintendent of Water Protection, said his department received calls from 150 customers, and city officials said around 30 residents called 911, and others questioned the city's main switchboard operator for guidance. Why would you call 911? It's like, I'm
like, why would you call
sweating
911?
excessively.
That seems like a waste.
And who gets that from drinking too much water? I kind of want to just drink too much water now and see if I just start sweating bullets. I don't think so.
No,
Although
because you can
Darren Wells
die from
admitted
drinking
that the
too much
whole thing was a
water.
prank after about 2 hours, lots of people quickly became furious and have maintained their state of furiousness to this very day. Those
Really?
people
Like,
need to
why are
chill
you
out.
so
This is
upset?
an ibuprofen. It is the perfect dose for your pea-sized brain.
Robnett appears to have led the charge on
Imagine
this one,
your name
saying that
being
the prank was
Gerald.
tantamount to an act of terrorism.
What an idiot.
How's that an act of terrorism?
All right, what was his name? Robnett. Relax, mate. It's not terrorism. It's a joke. Chill out. Going on to say that
Daddy,
it's the same
chill.
as going to an airport and shouting that you have a gun.
No.
No, it's
It's
not.
not the same as that, though, is it, Robnett? You f***ing idiot. In my opinion. Although Kansas officials appear to have lost their collective minds over this, as far as I can tell, the radio station appears to have held it together, ignoring demands that the DJs be fired and simply saying, we never meant for any of this to happen. We thought a couple of people might go to work without a shower. This, in my opinion, seems to be a perfectly proportional
that
response.
seems
Yes,
fine.
agreed. The proportional response is like semi-funny prank, guys. Bravo. Bonsai kittens.
Bonsai kittens. What?
Full disclosure, I actually wrote the majority of this entry for a
Is he
video on
part-time
Psychopics.
comedian?
Okie dokie, that's another channel that I do, by the way. Check it out. Sadly, due to a
Ooh.
script issuing error, it was never used. That is, until now. I wonder what the script issuing error was. I don't even remember.
Simon?
Okay.
Yeah.
Great job.
No.
So what exactly are bonsai kittens? To answer this question, it is probably best to take a trip through the Wayback Machine to the
Or
now
most
deleted
Americans don't
website
shower daily,
bonsaikittens.com.
allegedly. I mean, some
Once
people
there,
don't.
I encourage you to check it out for yourselves. You will find that its owners claim to be, quote, dedicated to preserving the long-lost art of body modification in house pets. No, that's obvious.
That's obviously
Look,
fake.
Everyone who knows this channel has subscribed to this channel for a while knows I have no particular affinity for pets. But like body modification of pets, that is just wrong. Stop torturing. Don't.
Has
like,
he
it's like,
been
I might not
watching
love
too
them,
many
but am I against their torture?
Lacey's games?
Obviously, yes.
Gerald Robnett? Oh, well, maybe yes. Kratos.
If that last sentence sounds insane, that's because it is, but we'll get to that in just a moment. If you scroll down the page a little, you'll be asked something along the lines of, have you always wanted a cat? Do you find their shape to be too boring? Have you ever wished that you could enjoy all the benefits of a regular cat, but in your own custom-designed shape?
Sorry.
What are you going to do? Like,
The
change his
fuck?
legs to have, like, weird right angles? What the fuck?
Sergeant Angel. Or is it Angle?
I don't even like thinking about it. Well, at bonsaikitten.com, we're able to provide people with specially modified cats in almost any shape they can think of. At Bonsai Kitten, we achieve this by placing the kitten into a rigid vessel soon after birth and allowing the young cat to grow out its formative time entirely within this container. This is so up. The kitten essentially grows into the shape of the vessel. Once the cat is fully developed, it's removed, or the vessel is broken to remove it, producing the lovable furry pet you've always wanted, but it remains the shape that you've always dreamed of. No one is like, people surely couldn't believe this is real, because no one has ever had the dream, I wish I could have a cat, just in a slightly different shape. It's a dream no one has had in the history of the world. Ever. Furthermore, readers of this site were actively encouraged to attempt the process themselves, but only if they had obtained the necessary government license.
I have a permit. This just says I can do what I want.
Obviously,
I mean, it's a
anybody
permit.
in their right mind would have taken a look at this site, declared it to be catch, and moved on with their lives. Or would they?
Oh my god.
No, don't tell me people were actually trying to do this. Psychos. I thought surely no one would ever do this. But apparently there's sickos out there who
Cat
will.
bonsais, okay.
In
Like,
spite of the fact that the entire
they're
website
they're
had been
definitely not
created by
Build-A-Bear.
students at MIT,
Even
partners
at
oaks,
Build-A-Bear, you
and
don't
partly to
build
prove
the
that
bear,
people
you just
believe
stuff it.
anything as long as it's written down in
I've
a
been to
certain way and has a
I've been
fancy website.
to Build-A-Bear quite many times.
Many people still took the bait. This would lead to demands from the Humane Society, among others, that it be shut down immediately, with Karen
Just to give Mono a
Allen,
nice custom
Karen
cup.
before
Yeah.
Karens were Karening, and a spokeswoman for
a lot
the
of Karen.
National Humane Society saying that even if the website was a hoax,
I need
it
like a
needed to
good
be taken
coffee
down
mug.
as it could cause members of the public to attempt to experiment on their own pets. And in this
Ooh,
case,
ooh,
I'm with you,
ooh.
Karen.
What?
Because this is
Experiments
going to lead
with
to some problems.
animals.
Unbelievably, these were not the only people who took issue with the website. Boston FBI agents served MIT with a grand jury subpoena asking for any and all subscriber information. Oh my lord. I would be in that subpoena because I'd go to that website and be like, this is sick. And like, in a bad way, not like sick, but like, this is sick. But I'd still subscribe just because I'd be curious.
Have you seen the new trend of custom mug? Oh god. Am I going to be scared asking what this new trend is?
Several of the students gave interviews to the press under the pseudonym Michael Wong Chang. One of the students said, "To be honest, we never expected the animal organizations to get involved at all. We thought they'd understand. I really thought the FBI had better things to do. That's your tax dollars at work." That guy is
he's not
the
wrong.
truth. Although still he needs to shut down his website. Sadly, there are members of the online community that believe this hoax to this very day.
But why would
Somewhat embarrassingly, I both remember this website
Oh my
originally doing
God.
the rounds and being briefly taken in by it. I don't remember that, and I surely can't believe that it would be a
It
real thing.
has to go with the
Although
same thing
back in
about
the day,
how
like,
there
I
was
feel
the
like maybe I
conspiracy
was more
theory
gullible,
that
the
birds are
internet, more
drones.
gullible, or maybe the internet was just a more innocent place.
Animal girl showing armpit on mug. The cold water, the cold
Where
water.
I'd just be like,
cold
oh,
water.
wow.
It's like they sweat
God,
and they lick it. Oh my
Americans are
god.
weird, huh?
I
That would be
wanna
my
see.
reaction. Looking back, I can somewhat mitigate my shame by also
wanna
remembering
see.
that I can't have been older than 13 at the time. I think if I remember correctly, Dave and I are almost the exact same age. So would I have believed this at 13? I think I could have, Dave, to be honest. I think I'd be like, whoa, okay. I mean, I still thought pro wrestling was cool. Herbal brownies. Anybody who has partaken in God's holy herb will tell you that it is, by and large, usually a rather pleasant experience. How would I know, Dave? I'd never know. Never do that. It's illegal. Although cannabis is traditionally smoked, should you find yourself in an environment where lighting up a massive joint might be deemed socially unacceptable, I've heard from friends that including it in the recipe of your favorite baked good is also a viable option. Yes, and some people would say that that is their preferred option. Someone who's definitely not me.
That looks great though. That is a genius idea.
Yeah, baby.
However, should you choose to go down this path, there are a number of things that you should take into account. Firstly, the effects take quite a lot longer to kick in. Secondly, they have a tendency to be more intense and last a lot longer, allegedly, according to my friends. Yeah, it's like the next day where you're like, oh man,
Like,
I'm really
I'm-
tired. For no reason. Oh yes.
You
Although
know,
I was able to
I'm
find
sort of
single
tempted
verified
to
incidents
see
of
if
somebody
I can
dying as
actually
a
get this
direct
cup
result of a
made.
THC overdose. If, for example, you had eaten a cannabis-laced muffin with absolutely no knowledge of what it contains, then the unexpected side effects may very well lead you to believe that something was terribly wrong with you. Yeah, that'd be scary.
I wonder-
Like,
I
if you're expecting it, you'd be like, oh my
Make
god,
your energy
I'm
in.
super high right now. This is intense. And somebody definitely wasn't me. It was like once.
Oh my god, I'm
had like definitely not me.
You
Once
don't know
had
how
some,
tempted
like,
I am to
edible,
get this mug made.
with once had some like edible stuff. And it's just like in the mirror going like this. Just like, wow, tongues are weird.
I think I'm gonna show Ryu and say, hey,
20 minutes. Not me, that's a story I heard.
here's a new merch idea. Oh, tongues are weird with definitely not Simon.
This is exactly what happened in Dallas, Texas, when two teenage boys, Joseph Tellini and Ian Walker, whipped up a batch of relaxing muffins and then dropped them off in the staff room at their high school. I want to say legends, but you shouldn't be drugging people, because this is like really not, this is really bad. Also, it's a waste of weed. You should have had that yourself.
Yeah, don't waste your
Presumably
drugs.
expecting nothing more than staff members being so
That's what
affected
she
by the munchies that they looted the school canteen, I imagine that they became a little more nervous when, one by one, 19 staff members were taken from the school to the nearest hospital. Oh my god.
Oh
You're
no.
Like, at first you're like,
This is hilarious.
then you're like,
Oh god, I'm gonna get a detention, aren't
my
I?
and then you're
God.
gonna go,
Oh god, I'm getting expelled.
and then it's like,
Oh god, I'm getting arrested.
You
one
would
teacher
get
later told the
arrested.
reporters, it affected me for 10 days. I had never had marijuana before. Although about one of these things, I believe believe he may have been lying, possibly both. They were charged with 5 felony counts of assault on a public servant, which could have resulted in 10 years in prison.
Fuck.
God, attention sounds pretty light after that, doesn't it?
Yep.
Cellini pled guilty to 2 secondary felony charges of tampering with a consumer product and 3 misdemeanor charges of assault by recklessly causing bodily harm. Both received a 5-year community supervision order, 180 hours of community service, and were forced to pay almost $14,000 in damages. God damn. There's no jail time for kids. But
10 years not long enough?
That is pretty
Yeah,
intense
no.
for like a kid. Assuming that the public does not view these crimes too harshly, one of the boys, Walker, has the opportunity to carve out an exceptionally lucrative career teaching the finer points of sarcasm to Americans. In an apology letter, which he presumably was forced to write, he said, "I guarantee everyone that this experience has opened my eyes to the real world. I have learned a great deal from it and will never do anything remotely illegal again."
Oh yeah, totally. He's going to be fine. He's
in
going to be...
2008, almost exactly the same thing happened at a school in Brooklyn when 3 students anonymously donated cakes that had been filled with laxatives.
Oh no.
You shouldn't be doing this. As anybody who's ever gone a colonoscopy will tell you, albeit briefly as they sprint to the nearest toilet,
I'm coloring
laxatives are no joke.
Emote. Gotta go fast. I want to watch Sonic X so badly.
But I understand that they make you, need to get yourself really urgently. Stop sign prank.
Laxatives are no joke.
Altering signage really does have the potential to be amusing. In the United Kingdom, there's a place called Scunthorpe. S-C-U-N-T, Horp.
You're coloring the outside of the hair ribbon. Oh, I was testing something. The pen pressure.
There was a sign that read, "You are now entering Scunthorpe," or at least it used to say that until some enterprising young comedian used white paint to erase the letters S-H-O-R-P-E. You see? That it spells a word that I can't say because I don't want to get demonetized. It's also an unpleasant word. It's like the worst swear word. You save that.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you keep that one holstered. Like, I'll say all day, but you use the C word when you really mean it. That is amusing, and more to the point, certainly has never resulted in the death of 2 elderly ladies, 2 ways in which it differed from a prank carried out in Ohio by Derek Greenlee and Seth Stonerock. Presumably
I don't
bored
use
of
that
playing
word that
Grand Theft
often.
Auto in their mum's basements, they
To be honest,
decided
I really
to
don't
indulge in a
use
little
that
bit of
word.
automobile carnage in the real world. So what did they do? According to the Columbus Dispatch, they drove out to an intersection in the middle of town while Greenlee waited in the car, allegedly protesting vociferously that the prank was not a good idea. Stonerock covered a stop sign in plastic and petroleum jelly. The 2 were so impressed with their stroke of comedic genius that as soon as they got home, they bragged about it on Facebook. Initially on Facebook, at least, the response seems to have been fairly positive. That was until at about 4 p.m, an 81-year-old lady drove straight into the intersection, collided with another car, and along with her 85-year-old sister, died. Now, wait, so I didn't really get the thing about plastic and petroleum jelly, but they covered up the stop sign, so people don't know to stop. Dude, that is stupid. This is not a good prank.
I can't believe someone died.
Would be like, this is a good idea. This is a terrible idea and people are going to die. Greenlee ultimately walked free after the judge ruled that there was not enough evidence to prosecute him, but Stonerock, who pled guilty to 2 counts of reckless homicide, would be convicted of 2 counts of involuntary murder and sentenced to 4 years in prison.
That's why you don't fuck around with, the public.
That feels quite light. I guess the thing is, because he's dumb, but I would say, I don't know how it works in American law, but a reasonable person would have foreseen the possibility of death, which I think
that
is
is
what
true.
would lead it to a more serious
Yeah,
conviction.
a reasonable person.
And I think he should have got more
they
time
just seem
for this, because
very
I think he should have reasonably foreseen that someone could
stupid.
die. He was released after 8 months.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
2 people died! What the fuck? Usually I'm all for, Americans and their prison sentences that is fucking long. That is way too short. Whilst I appreciate that he was a first-time offender, he never considered that what he was doing would actually result in any
Brown
fatalities,
eyebrows?
and he
No,
genuinely
they're not
appeared
brown.
to feel remorse and take
They're
full
dark
responsibility
purple.
for his actions, all points
They
that the
probably
judge
look brown
acknowledged upon
on-
his early release.
'cause
Whilst
they're
the
so
early release
small.
did not sit well with the victims' families, I suppose they can at least take comfort from the fact that Stonerock's parents are praying for them every day.
I mean,
Yeah,
I would
that's
be
great
pissed
comfort,
too
brilliant.
if that
Hiding
was
in a
the
bin.
sentence.
The last entry comes
Am I
from
in
a video
trouble
that I
now?
remember circulating some years ago. Unfortunately, I was unable to find this video again, so the description has been written entirely from my memory of the content. Those who work on the bin lorries, garbage trucks
Bin
for
lorries?
Americans,
Oh,
have a
trash.
pretty physically demanding job. Although the days where you could leave an unlimited amount of rubbish outside your house in
Oh, did
plastic
someone
bags
go
and
inside
they
of
would
one?
take it away no matter what are far behind us. Oh my god, I remember those days. Yeah, there were no wheelie bins or anything. You just put them in a black bag, dump them outside on bin day, and the men would just come and collect them. Now it's like, I've got a tiny ass wheelie bin, and it's like, that's it for the week. That's all the trash you can have. So it's like basically forcing me to recycle. No, I recycle. I'm a good person. There's an ongoing joke in my house. I recently got an electric car, and now whenever my wife finds some plastic in the bin, she's like, "Why is this plastic in the bin?" I'm like, I drive an electric car. I'm doing my parts. Obviously, I know it's bullshit, but I like the joke. My wife's getting real tired of it, but I keep going. Just keep going. Dragging around wheelie bins containing 2 weeks worth of rubbish from an entire household must build up some serious upper body strength, especially if that household contains a baby. 2 weeks worth of nappies is really heavy and disgusting. One man from Newcastle experienced this superior upper body strength firsthand when he decided it would be a good idea to hide in his empty wheelie bin and attempt to scare the refuse collector when he came to empty it.
Oh, man. Hey, it's
What are you
Oscar.
up to, bro? Is he gonna fall asleep in there or something and then get composted? Or like not composted, it's even worse, he's gonna get crunched up by that crusher. To be fair to the guy, his prank was 100% successful. When the refuse collect, oh no, it's gonna be 100%
Oh, no,
successful
did he
'cause you'll see his
die?
mangled body in the thing, isn't it?
No.
Oh god.
No.
When the refuse collector grabbed hold of the bin and started to roll it toward the truck, only to have some crazy man jump out and scream in his face, he really did seem to be frightened. Unfortunately, there are 2 responses to fear, that of fight and that of flight, and this guy wasn't running anywhere. Reflexively, he unleashed a devastating right hook, which knocked the prankster both clean out of the bin and unconscious.
Oh.
Hell, that's a right hook. It's just, he's in the bin, he's like, bang, and he's flying out of it, and he's on the floor asleep. Shit. As this was just a short clip, I believe on YouTube, I'm unable to provide any details as to whether or not either of them was charged with anything. However, the incident does at least provide a valuable life lesson that we can all take away. Never get into a boxing match with a bin man. Good advice, Dave.
Exactly.
Good advice. And on that good advice is where we end today's video. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, on that good advice, we will end here. So, yes. Today, I was going to say, bin man, bin bots. I think today has been eventful. It's definitely not Yakuza, which was supposed to be, because hotness. Very, very warm. So yeah. Also, let me know if you like this audio better than before. This is a different setting. I don't know if it's better than the other one. No Yakuza month? No, Yakuza is coming. You can either have Yakuza tomorrow or Cardcraft tomorrow. I mean, people probably want Yakuza. It was just too hot today. Sound the same, honestly? Oh, okay. Well, then. I was trying bid or card crafting. Yeah, we're going to be making 3D cards. Woo. Yeah, supposedly. Yeah, it's just too hot today to have the PlayStation on at the same time, because it's very warm and the sun. Part 3 is finally coming out. Yes. And we're going to be starting with something smaller. Something more simpler than the flower that I thought would be easy. That turned out it did not. A bit hot, eh? It's news. It's holy shit, it's 18 degrees. Ooh, okay. Well, here's the thing. At my apartment, I always have the air conditioner on, but the air conditioner is currently in storage, but I have a feeling that I'm going to be making a trip to the storage unit to grab the AC because it is just too hot. Want to trade temp? No, I'm good. If I can have my air conditioning, yes, I would. Because, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to go. Again, we can decide tomorrow if we want Cardcraft or if we want Yakuza. Either way, it will still be a decently long stream. I think... Sag! Looky here! March, where's my schedule for the month? Look, I don't even know my own schedule. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, I might stream Friday, depending, or Saturday. I'll talk to Ryu because maybe we might start Metal Gear Solid if he's up for it. To make up for Tuesday stream with Ryu being sick. So, yeah. Yeah. We'll figure it out tomorrow what we're gonna do, but I will be here. I promise I'll try to be on time. Because now I don't have to fend with what to do. So yeah. Minecraft server is coming soon. I still just have a few last minute things I need to finish building. Then that should be ready to go. So yeah. I want to thank y'all so much for watching. On time. Shh. I get hyper focused on things. So yeah. Again, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Thanks for coming, even if it's your first time. So yeah. Thanks for letting me share the joy of Simon with you. Yes, there will be a raid. I was thinking of raiding Alara unless anyone else has a suggestion. No, oh, okay. Yeah. We will raid Alara, because Smash. So yeah. I will see y'all tomorrow. Or if not, I will see you all another day. Again, thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll see y'all later. Bye! Yeah, Smash Brothers. Super Smash Brothers.